Sometimes it's the toughest tracks that bring out the best in drivers. Bristol International Raceway, where last year Ernie Irvan won his first race, joining the long list of drivers who have showed their true colors on the half-mile high banks.
If this world makes you crazy, you take it all you can bear. You call me up because you know I'll be there, and I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let it show.
It all began here for Ernie, who earlier this year won the biggest race of all, the Daytona 500. Will another driver show his true colors today at Bristol? ESPN, the world's leader in motorsports coverage, presents Speed World. Today, live from Bristol International Raceway in Tennessee, it's the Valleydale Meets 500 Winston Cup race. Skies partly cloudy. There's a 50% chance of rain this afternoon, but right now the weather is fine. And good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bob Jenkins. Welcome to Bristol, the track that has in the past allowed many drivers to show their true colors. Three top competitors, Ernie Irvan, Rusty Wallace, and Dale Earnhardt, each recorded their very first win here at this facility. As we go into today's race, Ricky Rudd is on top of the point standings for the first time in his career. He won last weekend at Darlington mainly because of some strategy planned around the pit rules. However, during this past week, the pit rules have changed drastically. And for more on that story, let's go on pit road to Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, Bob, there aren't many professional sports organizations that are as responsive to the input from the competitors and fans as NASCAR is. And as a result of that response and input, they're going to change the pit rules here at Bristol and allow the drivers to change tires under caution. But to make it safe on pit road, they're going to divide the field in half. If you qualified on the inside row, first, third, fifth, seventh, etc., you're an odd car. If you qualified on the outside row to start the race, you're an even car. Now, on the first lap of caution, when the pace car comes out of turn 4 and opens pit road, the odd cars will be allowed to pit. You can come down pit road and do whatever you want to do. Next time by, the even cars can come in and pit. Now, herein lies the difference. They're going to strictly enforce the safety rules on pit road. If you lose control of your car coming down pit road and spin the car, get it more than 90 degrees out of shape, it'll cost you a 5-lap penalty. If you contact another car on pit road and it's your fault, which is the judgment call by the NASCAR official, that's also a 5-lap penalty. If you stop the nose of your car over this line marking the exit to your pits, that's a 15-second penalty. And you're allowed 7 men and only 7 to work on that car. An extra man or even a foot from an extra man over that wall will cost you a 15-second penalty. What they're trying to do is maintain the margin of safety while getting back to good old traditional stock car racing. Hey, and speaking of traditional racing, take a look at who's starting on that front row where John Kernan's standing.
Jerry, I tell you what, it doesn't get much better than this. Right here, starting from the #1 pole position, Rusty Wallace. On the outside, in the second position, Dale Earnhardt. Two guys who love this kind of a racetrack where the action is fast and furious. Things happen in a hurry, and there's a little, well, okay, maybe there's a lot of some beating and banging. It's the kind of track that really fits both of their driving styles. In fact, as Bob said, both drivers won their first career Winston Cup races here. So now let's go for the command to fire the engine.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back the Grand Marshal of today's race, the Vice President of Coca-Cola USA. For those 4 famous words, Mr. Raymond Thomas. Raymond.
Gentlemen, start your engine.
As the 33-car field roars to life, a lot of factors to consider what with the new pit road rules. Is that right, Ned Jarrett and Benny?
John, we can talk about them, we can dance around them, but Ned, until we run a race, there's no way of knowing what's going to happen.
Not really, but I think one thing for sure, Benny, we'll see a lot closer racing than we've seen so far this year now that they can change tires during caution. But I think one thing, it'll be hard for the drivers to make up a lap because of the restarts.
That's right, because odd cars on the inside, even cars on the outside. Normally, we see the slower cars on the inside on the preferred line, so you're right, making up laps is going to be difficult.
You know, Benny, this track has produced a lot of first-time winners. Dale Earnhardt got his first victory here. So did Rusty Wallace. Last year, Ernie Irvin got in victory lane for the first time ever. Wouldn't surprise me to see that happen here today. Michael Waltrip running awfully good. So is Hud Strickland. And Rick Mast, I think, has an excellent shot at winning this race.
Whoa. Don't forget about that young Jarrett. I think Ned's been a little bit modest. Dale is running very well, isn't he?
He is running good in the sit-go forward, and he likes this racetrack. He might have a shot at it, but he, like Michael Waltrip, pitting on the backstretch. That's another thing that has come into play with the pit rules the way they are now. It'll be a disadvantage pitting on the backstretch.
All right, thank you, guys. You can see the cars lined up on pit road. In just a few minutes, they'll be going onto the track for a couple of warm-up laps. Here is the die-hard starting lineup for today's Valleydale Meets 500. On the pole, his first pole here at Bristol, Rusty Wallace in the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac, qualifying at 118.051, just short of a record. Outside front row, Dale Earnhardt in the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet car number 3. The second row consists of Davey Allison in the Haviland Ford car number 28. He's flanked by last week's winner and the new points leader, Ricky Rudd, in the Tide Chevrolet car number 5. Row 3 is Alan Kowicki, the Hooters Ford car number 7. He's flanked by last year's Winston Cup runner-up, Mark Martin, in the Folgers Ford car number 6. Fourth row is Brett Bodine, the Quaker State Buick number 26, and Ernie Irvin in the Kodak Film Chevrolet car number 4. And we take a look now at the remainder of the starting lineup. Rick Mast there is the only driver in the top 10 who has not registered a Winston Cup win in his career. Several of the drivers qualified off the pace, so to speak, and are placed in the middle, if not toward the back of the starting grid. So we should see a lot of movement of drivers coming up through the field. Ted Musgrave and Bobby Hamilton back there in row number 14. The two slowest qualifiers, Bill Elliott and Terry Labonte. The other three took provisionals, including Richard Petty, who used his provisional of being a former Winston Cup champion. Now let's take a look at the track they'll be running on here this afternoon. Bristol International Raceway is just a little over a half mile in length. They qualified at 118.051 in 16.25 seconds. 500 laps will go, and the field is separated by just a little more than a half second. Bristol International Raceway has pits on both the front stretch and the back stretch. It is a true oval. And as far as places to look for, well, coming out of turn number 2, we have seen many accidents occurred there, and likewise as the cars come out of turn number 4 onto the front straightaway, we've seen a lot of crashes in the past. The turns are banked at 36 degrees, that is turns 1 and 2, and by the same token, turns 3 and 4 also banked at 36 degrees. Even the front stretch is banked at 16 degrees, so you can see that as the cars come off of the banking of the turns, they go on to 16 degrees, and then they're right back into 36 degrees of banking. Our in-car cameras, as Ernie Irvin carries one of them, he's on that 36-degree banking right now. Ernie will carry one of our in-car cameras here this afternoon. His first career Winston Cup win came here. Dale Jarrett will carry a bumper cam. You can see that car right in front of the Snickers car, and the helmet cam also being carried by Dale this afternoon. And finally, Lake Speed will have one of our in-car cameras. Lake starting way back in 24th position. We are about ready to go green for 500 laps of racing. Great crowd on hand. The sun is out, and here we go with the Valleydale Meets 500.
Dale Earnhardt having all kinds of trouble getting up to speed. He's now back to 6th spot. Bumper cam on Dale Jarrett's car right up behind the 20 car driven by Bobby Hillin.
Rusty Wallace has the lead. Earnhardt created a traffic jam at the beginning of the race and has fallen back to 6th.
Yeah, he was trying to get in line, fellas. He was on the outside, and that was not the preferred groove on the start of the race, so it took him a little while to get down into the inside.
That's a race for 4th. Brett Bodine, Quaker State Buick, and the Tide Chevrolet of Ricky Rudd. As Bob mentioned, he now is the leader of the Winston Cup point standings.
Has an 80-point advantage over Dale Earnhardt going into this event. And as you can see, Earnhardt is right behind him in 6th spot. Running back in 7th position is Mark Martin. Rick Mast is 8th. Jeff Bodine is 9th, and 10th is Sterling Marlin. Jerry, what was wrong there with Earnhardt at the beginning of the race?
Well, nothing really, Bob, other than the fact that Rusty Wallace jumped off to a quick start out of turn 4, and Earnhardt was caught on the outside and really couldn't get in the throttle and use much power off the corner. Remember, this race a year ago, he spun coming off turn 2, hit the inside wall, and it cost him a shot at winning, so he wanted to make sure he made no mistakes early on, take his time and get back in line.
Well, it did cost him 5 positions, but he has fallen into 5th place now and is holding his own. As you can see, the great battle is between Brett Bodine in the green Quaker State number 26 and Ricky Rudd in the Tide Machine number 5. And there's Earnhardt right behind them. The first 3 cars are Rusty Wallace, Davey Allison, and Alan Kulwicki. Back behind Rick Mast is Jeff Bodine, Hut Strickland, Ernie Irvin, and the other Junior Johnson car driven by Sterling Marlin. And now Ernie trying to position himself inside of Hut Strickland, couldn't get the pass made in turns 1 and 2.
He took a look going in turn 1, was not able to get by. He's right on the back bumper of that Buick.
It's not going to be an easy chore to pass here today, fellas. You really are going to have to set someone up and maybe cause him to make a little bit of a mistake up in front of you so you can get a fender under him.
There we see Ernie once again trying to get to the inside. Almost made it, but not quite.
Well, it puts a little bumper to him that time, but still, it was not good enough.
Watching 9th, 10th, and 11th. They did do some more resurfacing. Oh, Ricky Rudd now trying to move into 4th position, and he has. Brett Bodine is caught up on the high side and is passed by 3 cars.
Now 4.
And now 4 as Rick Mast comes along.
And Hut Strickland will find himself in the same position. You get up in that outside groove, and the freight train is going by.
That's looking at the back of Ernie Irvin's car back at Sterling Marlin, the Maxwell House Ford. Sterling pulls up right on the back bumper of Ernie, but Ernie pulls away down the straightaway about a car length or so.
Speeds here average about 118 a lap for the pole sitter. What's top speed, Benny?
130 miles per hour. As we watch the cars accelerate down the front straightaway, right now Sterling Marlin's running 130s with brakes going in turn 1.
There's first and second, Rusty Wallace and Davey Allison. 1-2 back in 3rd position, about 8 car lengths behind Davey Allison is Alan Kulwicki. As the first 15 laps of this Valleydale Meets 500 being completed with Rusty Wallace leading and running in 2nd place is Davey Allison. Well, today's ESPN is presenting once again the Right Guard Halfway Challenge. The driver leading at the halfway lap will win a $10,000 reward from Right Guard Sports Stick Anti-Perspirant, and you will have a chance to win a Pontiac Grand Prix SC if you dial the number on your screen and know who's leading at the halfway mark when they call you back. The Right Guard Halfway Challenge in effect here at Bristol once again this weekend.
As a matter of fact, they have rolled the $10,000 over to $20,000 today to the leader at the halfway point.
The yellow flag comes out over Bristol International Raceway for the first time.
And the car number 68, the rookie driver Bobby Hamilton, apparently blew an engine. He's in the pits on the backstretch, and they think there might be a little oil or something in the groove.
So the NASCAR officials will come out to check, and you can see some damage there on the left side of Jeff Bodine's car, and that car has been showing some smoke coming from it, probably some body work rubbing against the tires. So we're under caution. The speed of the field is reduced for the first time. We're live from Bristol International Raceway in East Tennessee. We've just begun here at Bristol. 19 of 500 laps completed. Rusty Wallace has the lead. Davey Allison second, followed by Alan Kulwicki, Ricky Rudd, and Dale Earnhardt. Our Speed World coverage of the Valleydale Meets 500 being brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil. By Budweiser, the king of beers, with that clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud. And by Goodyear, the unanimous choice of every NASCAR Winston Cup team. We showed you the damage on the left side of Jeff Bodine's car. Now we'll maybe get an indication of exactly how it was placed there.
Well, it got high, Bob, and several cars went by, and you see a little smoke coming off of it as it comes off of turn 4, but there was a little bit of rubbing in those passes. One more lap to go now before the green flag comes out. We see the cars. This is the first time ever now that we have seen them line up double file on a restart since there were no cars left. But it's the odd cars, the way they qualified on the inside, the even cars on the outside. Advantage to some, maybe disadvantage to others.
Well, it's a tremendous advantage to the 5-car Ricky Rudd right now. He was running 4th when his caution flag came out. Right now, he is up beside. There he is. The 5-car is right beside the leader, Rusty Wallace. So he's 2nd.
And he actually is the leader of the race since he's lined up on the outside in the even position. He picks up the 5 bonus points.
He went from 4th to really leading this race under the new system.
Pace car leads him slowly through turns 3 and 4 as the cars begin to pick up some speed now in turn number 4.
And Ricky Rudd controls this restart of the race, and he gets the jump, and he might lead this race. He does.
Urban caught up high, losing spots. Now he gets to the inside. The Cinco in-car camera providing the shots. That's Rick Wilson up there in the Snickers, number 8. And Bobby Pillin to the left.
Boy, Ned, don't you know Rusty Wallace is fit to be tied?
Oh, man, I tell you, it's there's some others back in the field in the same position that, got caught up on the outside. There wasn't a thing they could do about it. They just, that's the way the rules are. So it's tough on a track like this.
Here comes Rusty off the 4th turn and easily takes the lead away from Ricky Rudd. So Rudd back to 2nd. Dale Earnhardt remains 3rd with Davey Allison 4th and Mark Martin in 5th. And the 7th place car there on the right of your screen is Alan Kulwicki.
Earnhardt was also a benefactor because he was running about 4th or 5th before the caution came out, and he's now running 3rd. So he moved up a couple of spots.
If you can get back in line, even though you're starting on the outside, it can help. There were some back in the pack that didn't get back in line, and it really hurt them.
Alan Kulwicki looking to the inside of Mark Martin. This is for 5th position.
And Kulwicki was running 3rd when the caution flag came out. So you see, folks, how this new rule will change the running order around.
Riding with Ernie Irvin once again, who's positioned behind Alan Kulwicki.
You can see the cars move around quite a bit on this racetrack. Even though the turns are back 36 degrees, they still slide around there a little bit. Kulwicki putting some pressure on Mark Martin.
You just have no time to rest on this track. The straightaway's, about 2.5 or 3 seconds, and then it's boom, right back into the banking again.
And to the driver, it doesn't seem like it's much more than a second because as they come off the corner, they're still trying to get themselves back, sit in the seat, almost at the start-finish line, and by then it's time to go into the next corner.
Once again, we're watching the battle for 5th and 6th. Mark Martin, Alan Kulwicki, and Ernie Irvin carrying our in-car camera. Behind Irvin is Rick Mast, car number 1 in 8th position.
I thought a couple of laps ago if Kulwicki could get by.
Oh, a spin coming out of 2.
A spun coming out of turn 2.
Dick Trickle is hit by Rick Wilson. Michael Waltrip is also a victim of the spin by Dick Trickle, as Trickle and Waltrip are at the bottom of the racetrack. Neither car moving at the moment. Rick Wilson damaged the front end of the Snickers car greatly and is driving around the racetrack.
I really don't think Rick Wilson could see a thing.
No,
Michael Waltrip now gets his car started.
But he's left down.
And Trickle does also. Let's see if we can tell how all this developed.
This is going down the front straightaway. The cars will go through turns 1 and 2. There we see Trickle. He moves up the racetrack a little bit, and Michael Waltrip just bumps him a little bit. Around goes Dick. Trickle runs,
Wilson.
Rick Wilson runs in the back of Michael Waltrip, and I just don't think he saw the 34 car for the smoke.
Yeah, once he hit Waltrip, all that smoke was there, and so then he ran into the car 34 and Dick Trickle.
We'll look at it from another angle. Our camera located at the end of the backstretch. You can see how Rick Wilson made contact with Michael Waltrip and then also punched Dick Trickle.
You see, we never saw Rick Wilson until he hit Trickle, and that's exactly what he saw. Nothing until boom.
The record number of caution flags in a NASCAR race occurred here, 20. We've had 2 here in the first 32 laps. Here's a look from the bumper cam.
Again, going down the front straightaway, and Dale Jarrett, Sitco forward.
He couldn't see either.
Oh, I should say.
What did I say he saw?
But he stopped. He got the car stopped, and so did the cars behind him.
We're glad you could join us on this Sunday afternoon. We're live for Winston Cup Racing at Bristol International Raceway. We'll be right back. Just taking the green flag cars in turn number 4, completing the first lap under green. It's Rusty Wallace that is back out front. Ricky Rudd second, then Allison, Earnhardt, and Alan Kulwicki. And Terry Labonte with a big plume of smoke coming off of turn number 4. He keeps going.
So look, these cars driving right into it. Of course, their spotters have told them there's no car sitting there.
Oh, Dale Earnhardt spins going down in turn 1. Earnhardt's in the fence.
And creating a traffic jam behind.
Sterling
He's hit hard by Sterling Marlin, who slides into him and hits him hard on the right front corner of the car as the field comes around for the caution once again. Sterling Marlin and Dale Earnhardt spin down in turn number 1, and Earnhardt is sitting at the bottom of the racetrack. The car not operating.
There's quite a bit of damage done to the Goodwrench Chevrolet. Sterling Marlin, you can see there's damage done to his car as well. He comes on around, but there is a lot of damage done to the right rear of his car.
The ambulance going to the scene, but it will not be needed as Earnhardt has the car rolling.
He's backing around trying to find some place to land so he can start. Well, he's going to back in this road. Oh, he's going back to his pits.
To his pits, yeah.
Look out.
That's an unusual entrance to the pits. But,
and here comes members of the crew up to greet him. He's backing down this road in the pit area, close to where he is pitted here on the main stretch.
There's Cecil Gordon. Got a jack stand out. The other crew's talking on the radio, telling what they need.
Here's Jerry Punch, who's right there.
Dale's getting some of the harnesses rebuckled here. Dale, he's trying to get talking to the crew here on the radio. They're trying to get him refixed. He is on the radio trying to get the car refired. You see him sitting in the car, and the crew now surveying the damage. Kurt Shelby and the crew trying to talk to Dale Earnhardt as they get ready to change tires. A tough break for a driver who has had so many good runs here, and now he puts the net down. We'll go back in and get a word with him. Dale, tough break. What happened up there?
NASCAR didn't throw the caution at all on the racetrack. I busted my butt.
You took a pretty good lick. Are you okay? You took a pretty good lick from behind.
Huh?
You took a pretty good lick from behind. You all right?
Yeah, they seen that car spin, didn't throw the caution. They had oil on the racetrack going in 1. They didn't do nothing. They don't care.
Obviously upset. Dale Earnhardt sitting in the car, and the crew now have their work cut out for him. Lots of sheet metal damage on this Goodwrench Chevrolet. The Shoulders crew now will begin to try to put the parts back together and get him out to pick up some points.
The defending Winston Cup champion sitting at the end of pit road with a damaged race car. Let's go to John Kernan, who's there in the Sterling Marlin pit.
Sterling is back in for the second time. They will work around the rear end. As you can see, it looks like he got run smack into the rear end and pushed it down just a little bit. Now that probably will cause some handling problems out on the track. They've got a pry bar in there. They're trying to pry it back out to working fast. Sterling will leave to remain on the lead lap. He's got a lot of damage on that rear end, though.
We'll replay the incident and show you the tail end of the Earnhardt spin up in turn number 1 and how he got punched by Sterling Marlin.
We see Earnhardt spin, and he's backed in the wall, but I don't think there's a lot of damage to the rear of the car. And we see Sterling Marlin come in and just simply back in the front of the car.
Now there is.
Yeah, that's where the damage is as far as that car running again
you
right
can
now.
see that Dale just apparently did hit that oil and slid right up to the wall and then down the banking. And Sterling Marlin comes along and boom, right in the right front of the car. And now from Dale Jarrett's bumper cam.
Running right behind Harry Gant going into the turn. Ooh, got awfully close.
Hey. Oh, it works. I thought maybe we lost it, but it took a hit and continued to work. So the third caution flag is out on Bristol International Raceway in this 500-lap race. 42 have gone by. Rusty Wallace, the leader, back with more right after this. They continue to work on Dale Earnhardt's car, trying to get it back into the race. He was involved in a spin down in turn number 1 and then was hit by Sterling Marlin. Now, before that incident, here is a spin coming off of corner number 4 that involved Terry Labonte.
You see, Labonte did a 360. He stood on the gas and spun the rear tires and created a tremendous amount of smoke. I believe that's the smoke that Dale saw. Now, all those cars come in, they run into the smoke, and Dale goes down the corner, and he thinks that there's some oil, and I'm sure there's oil on the racetrack, but it was, I don't think, from Labonte's car.
Could have been some from the former caution flag when Bobby Hamilton blew an engine.
Exactly. The 68 car evidently lost an engine, so that may be the oil that Earnhardt got into.
And so Earnhardt continues to sit on pit road and work being done on the car as the green flag comes out and the Valleydale Meets 500 resumes under green. And Ricky Rudd from his outside front row starting position, the even numbered car, takes the lead away from Rusty Wallace. But here comes Rusty charging back to the inside, and once again he passes Rudd with ease.
Well, Ricky being the Winston Cup point leader, leading those laps certainly has helped him in that respect because it gave him a 5-point bonus for leading a lap. So he has that out of the way if he never leads another lap in this race.
Running back to Rudd is Davey Allison, then Ernie Irvin, Alan Kowicki, Rick Mast, Brett Bodine, Jeff Bodine, Ken Schrader, Jimmy Spencer, Hut Strickland, Mark Martin, and Dale Earnhardt is back on the racetrack. They've got the GM. Oh, and another spin. Lake Speed loops it down in turn number 4. And this creates another caution. There's a big piece of debris at the bottom of the racetrack in turn number 4. And once again, we're reduced under yellow for the 4th time in 49 laps. We may be on a record pace here again.
There we see the back end of Lake Speed's car. Trop Arctic Pontiac is bounced in the outside retaining wall.
Well, we've run 49 laps now, fellas. Don't know if we're close enough to pit stops or not. The fellas in the pits might have an idea of if they would stop this early. Certainly they don't want to give up track position, though.
For right now, though, the field staying out on the racetrack behind the pace car as the caution waves once again. We'll be back in Bristol in just a moment. Back at Bristol, Lake Speed rolls out of the pits on the backstretch in number 66, just ahead of the pace car and the rest of the field as we are set to go back to green in a resumption of this race. Well, if nothing else, the drivers are getting their fix of lining up for a restart. We've had to do it 5 times already, and here they come once again for a restart. It's Rusty Wallace to the inside and Ricky Rudd to the outside. The green flag is out, and Wallace gains the advantage this time. And Davey Allison races along side by side with Ricky Rudd.
Ooh, and Ricky barely gets that second position away.
Earnhardt is about to go another lap down. He's already 10 laps down because of the time he spent in the pits getting that car fixed. And boy, is he going to suffer a point loss here this afternoon.
Oh, boy,
look at this.
Traffic jam.
A big traffic jam. Ken Schrader spins. Many other cars are going to be involved, but nobody seriously. I think everybody's going to be able to keep going, but
the
boy,
one car, Rick Mast, right in the middle of the screen, has more damage than anyone out of this. There goes Rick down the straightaway. Some heavy damage to the front of his automobile.
Dale Earnhardt was on the low groove of the racetrack and not going nearly as fast as the other members of the field because of the damage that has been sustained to that car. And when the leaders came up on him, we had a problem. And let's look at it once again.
That's what it was. You see the 66 car of Lake Speed out in front, and then Earnhardt, and they're not running nearly as fast as the leaders, and everybody runs in their jams. Well, now we're about to see it happen going into turn 3. That's where they really jam up. Ricky Rudd gets by on the outside, but Rusty caught down there and bumps Earnhardt, and then also bumps Davey Allison, and then everybody starts bumping behind them.
And I can see where Rick Mast received all of his damage. He ran in the back of Schrader. He's the fellow who caused Schrader to spin, and there we see Mast in the pits.
And let's go to John Kernan, who's right there.
Bob, you can see the right front side where they've got one of those cutting tools out there, a pneumatic cutting tool. They're cutting away, trying to get that right front fender off there, get it up off the tire at least. Rick sitting in the car. Also some damage to the rear end. The crew will pull out the sheet metal to keep it from getting on the tires. Now, to beat the pace car out, he's going to have to go. So Rick will move along, which is a really shame. He was running really well. He worked up into the top 5 at one point. He told me this morning that he really loves to run here at Bristol. Guys, he said he didn't know why. He just really loved it. But I'm not so sure how much he's going to love it after today.
And we have several cars making pit stops, including Dale Earnhardt, who's getting that car checked over once again. Here's another replay.
Now let me show you what happened. Earnhardt is up in the middle of the racetrack. Rusty Wallace decides to go inside. Earnhardt moves over to let the fast cars go by. And Rusty has already made that decision to go on the inside. Well, he gets jammed in behind Earnhardt. Earnhardt was trying his best to get out of the way, but Rusty had already decided to go the inside of him.
And Dale was impeded by Lake Speed, who was just gaining speed after coming out of the pit area. So that's how that incident occurred. Nobody seriously damaged, although Rick Mast remains on pit road, and the number 11 car showing a lot of damage here. 56 laps completed out of 500 in the Valleydale Meets 500. There's Rick Mast, who is back on the racetrack, but there is a lot of damaged sheet metal already here at Bristol. Rick Mast had a lot, and so does Brett Bodine. Safety regulations in the cockpit area designed to provide further protection for the driver. Here's this week's Track Fact. Track Facts are brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is One Tough Motor Oil.
Driver safety is a primary concern in NASCAR. A year or so ago, they installed this roof roll bar, such that if a car were sliding on its side or upside down and were hit from above, the driver would still be safe. In 1991, they mandated the removal, actually the movement, of this Foyt bar, named after the driver who first described it. This bar, to my right, in years past would go from the right front of the roll cage to an area just behind the seat. The problem there was that with severe side impact, the driver's arm, shoulder, and possibly even helmet could contact that bar. This year, the bar must stop in the middle of the car and go down through the floorboard. That allows a much better safety perimeter inside the car for the driver.
Located high on a hill outside of turn number 2 here at Bristol is a junkyard. And it would appear as though there are good candidates to be up there at the end of this day from right here at the racetrack, because a lot of damage already to several cars. Brett Bodine and several are on pit road still receiving some help. Now, here is how this most recent incident occurred.
Again, Rusty Wallace tries to go by Earnhardt on the inside. Meanwhile, Earnhardt had moved over to let him go by on the outside, and about 10 cars back, the chain reaction started.
Now, here's the back of the pack and what happens when something happens up in front of you.
Jimmy Spencer going by Schrader. Schrader runs in the back of the 7. The 1 runs in the back of the 25. The 26 run in the back of the 1, and therefore.
And so forth. Yes, here's Jerry Punch.
Brett Bodine, one of the victims, gentlemen, he is still sitting down here working on the front of the car. His Buick Regal heavily damaged. They have the Quaker State hood up, and they're replacing the radiator. Brett, quickly, what happened out there?
Gary, just everybody just kind of backed up getting into the corner over there. A bunch of lap cars come out in front of Rusty, and he had to jack up to miss them and run in the back of, I believe it was Earnhardt in front of him. And then it was just a chain reaction. I got slowed up, but I got run into from behind, and that just pushed me out into miles. Just a tough break. The car was running real well, just taking it easy there in the beginning.
Brett Bodine getting work behind the walls. We're back to green, Bob.
We are back to green, and Ricky Rudd has the lead with Rusty Wallace running in second, then Allison David and Alan Kowicki.
Jimmy Spencer's running 6th, Hut Strickland 7th, Dale Jarrett 8th, Chad Little 9th, and Harry Gant 10th.
Ricky Rudd has a very good race car today. I think Rusty Wallace is a little bit quicker at this point, and there he goes by Ricky Rudd with no problem. And here comes the 28 car, Davey Allison. He's going to take the spot away. Now Rudd will be able to get in line.
So Rusty Wallace goes back in the lead. We have had 11 lead changes in the first 64 laps. Strategy down on pit road, John?
Bob's strategy on pit road as it applies to the racetrack. Ricky Rudd leading a couple of laps, and then the cars go around him. What he has told Valleydale Wilson on the radio, what they have talked about, is taking a conservative approach right now. As we've seen, it's the law of the jungle. You have to survive out there on the racetrack to be around at the end of 500 laps. So Ricky's not going to take any unnecessary chances at this point.
Meanwhile, on the racetrack, there's a great battle for 7th position. That's Hut Strickland in car number 12, and right behind him, carrying our bumper cam, is Dale Jarrett.
And he's been awfully close, as he is right now, to Hut Strickland as he goes into the turn. No contact, but
it's close.
Yeah.
Great.
I wouldn't want to be standing between them.
Look how close. The Sitco in-car camera providing some great shots of how close these guys run together. And you can understand now that when somebody gets off the accelerator and, God forbid, on the brakes, what can happen?
You've got a wreck. That's what can happen. What will happen about every time. That's Strickland followed up last time in Darlington. Trans-South 500 had a great run going in there. But I think Dale Jarrett's got a look on the inside. Maybe.
Let's see now if he's going to fall back. No, he stays alongside of Hut and goes by him. Nice move by Dale Jarrett.
And here comes other problems, namely Harry Gant, that green and white number 33, the Skull Bandit. Once Jarrett got by Hut Strickland, he's able to pull away by 3 or 4 car lengths.
Jarrett 7th, 8th, and 9th. Jarrett 7th, Hut now 8th, and Harry Gant in 9th position.
Gant looking for the opportunity. And he now may have the inside lope. Hut gets a good jump off the second corner and remains in the position. Meanwhile, here's some side-by-side racing. Bobby Hillen and Joe Ruttman were side-by-side there for a moment. Ruttman in number 75. Bobby Hillen drives car 20. And there's Michael Waltrip in number 30, who had such a great run last week at Darlington before trouble on pit road.
And he had a good run going this week, too, Bob, until he got caught up in that spin. He lost a lap over there, but he's still running good, it looks like. There's Kyle Petty. Kyle has been in the pits in the mellow yellow Pontiac. He's one of the drivers that has made a pit stop, has fresh tires on the car, but he still is having trouble finding running room.
Kyle's 14th.
Yellow flag is out.
Another caution. There is an umbrella, believe it or not, on the racetrack. Now, where in the world did that fall out of the grandstand? I guess it did.
I'm sure it didn't fall out of one of those race cars. Or at least I don't think so.
Well, that's a first. The 6th caution flag of the afternoon at Bristol is brought out by an umbrella on the racetrack. Back with more racing after this. You have it haven't missed a thing. The cars are coming down to take the green flag and resume the Valleydale Meets 500 on lap number 78. It's been pretty much an upfront battle between Ricky Rudd and Rusty Wallace. They have exchanged the lead here in the first 78 laps of this event. Right now it's Rudd out front at number 5. Wallace in number 2, in position number 2.
Don't you know Rush is getting tired of this? He goes out and gets a second or two lead. The caution flag comes out, and Rudd jumps him on the restart.
Well, but Rudd let him go.
Yeah.
Moved over and let him go.
We've seen it twice before. Now for the third time, Wallace easily takes the lead away. Big crash on the front stretch. Derek Cope makes hard impact with the wall coming off of corner number 4, and
so did Bill Elliott. Make some hard contact with something. I think it was the back of Cope's car.
Anyway, Cope's car is on the inside down by pit wall, just past the start-finish line. And the guy who won the Daytona 500 a year ago and had to take a provisional to get into this race has suffered severe damage on the right side of the race car.
Wow, there is some heavy damage.
Here it is again.
Cope's caught on the outside. Here he comes off turn 4, and look, something happened to the right front of the car, and he just goes straight into the wall and right down in the side of Bill Elliott's car.
Yeah, he hit Bill Elliott's car hard on the right front.
Let's go to John Kernan.
Derek has radioed into his crew chief, Buddy Parrott, who's told him that the problem was the throttle hung open on him, hung wide open, and that was part of the problem coming out of the turn, or in the turn, as the throttle hung on him.
Well, he made hard contact on the right side of the car with the 4th turn wall, and then heavy contact with Bill Elliott as he slid across the racetrack. He is out of the race car and walking toward the ambulance, but the day is done for Derek Cope.
Well, that's a tough break for he and for Bill Elliott. Bill certainly a victim of circumstances. He was just trying to get by on the inside, but Cope came off the wall.
Elliott has not had a good weekend. He was the next slowest qualifier, started this race in 29th position, and now his car has been damaged in an incident with Derek Cope. We'll take another break and be back in just a moment. Once again, here's how to enter the Right Guard Halfway Challenge Sweepstakes. Call 1-900-420-2222 before the halfway map, and stay tuned to see which driver wins the today $20,000 award. If your entry is selected and you are called at home, you will win a Pontiac Grand Prix SE if you can name the driver who won the Right Guard Halfway Challenge. We are not nearly to the halfway point yet. We're on lap number 85, and once again, under caution, Dick Trickle is parked at the bottom of the racetrack in turn number 3. The left rear wheel came off of that car.
Well, the left front is also off. We can see it's trying to be, it's hung under the fender, but it's not attached to the hub as it should be. What happened is he made a pit stop. They took the lug nuts off the left side, and there was some miscommunication. Dick left, and the left rear fell off, and the left front is almost off.
Trickle's first ride with this team. There you can see the left rear coming off.
And it happened right in front. The leaders were about to come around. He was beating the leaders out of the pits, but that tire did not bounce up in front of Rusty Wallace, so everything is okay.
Bristol International Raceway has had a history of exciting racing and a lot of bumping and banging. A lot of first-time winners, too. Let's take a look at last year's event. Winston Cup replays are brought to you by Autolite Spark Plugs, guaranteed for 2 years, no matter how far you go. The weekend at Bristol last April began with a terrible crash in Saturday's Busch Grand National race involving Michael Waltrip. Despite what looked like an unsurvivable incident, Michael walked away and was in fact in the lineup for the next day's Winston Cup race. Ernie Urban had won his first career pole. He led until the 16th lap when he was involved in a spin in turn number 1. Points leader Dale Earnhardt also fell victim to the Bristol high banks. Phil Parsons, substituting for Harry Gant, carried our bumper cam and caught this action, which also involved Dale Jarrett. Davey Allison narrowly escaped a crash involving Rob Moroso on lap 169. But Davey charged back to the front of the field. And at the checkered, he beat Mark Martin by 8 inches, the closest finish in NASCAR history. And with that second place finish last year, Mark Martin moved to second in the point standings. Here at Bristol this year, 86 laps have been completed. Here are the top 5, Wallace, Rudd, Allison, and the second 5 back after this. Cars have just taken the green and headed into turn number 1 on the 91st lap. We're back to racing. Ricky Rudd and Rusty Wallace at it again. Rusty takes the lead away from Ricky.
Ricky just sort of backs off going into turn 3 and lets him go. That one time, Davey Allison got by, and Ricky didn't want that to happen again, so he's being a little bit smarter about it this time.
Great battle back in the pack. Joe Ruttman, that's the 15 of Morgan Shepherd up high on the racetrack. Bobby Hillen, number 20. Kyle Petty, Michael Waltrip. Also, Ken Schrader is there.
Mickey Gibbs going by on the inside.
And Rick Mast. They sort things out back in the pack. Here comes Terry Labonte in the number 94 Sunoco car. There's Mark Martin also getting involved in this battle.
Boy, caught on that high side. Morgan trying to get down on the inside. Now he finally gets in line, but Mark Martin still caught out there. There's Jeff Bodine right behind them, too. Jeff has been in the pits. Dale Jarrett right behind Jeff Bodine. He also has been in the pits during this last caution.
Up front, meanwhile, it continues to be Wallace, Rudd, and Davey Allison. These 3 drivers have certainly been the dominant one so far. Here comes Ricky Rudd passing Rusty Wallace.
Something's wrong with Rusty. He has a problem because he has just lost some of his dominance. Jerry Punch, what seems to be the problem?
Rusty just radioed to crew chief Jimmy Maycar that he may have a tire going down. Maycar and the crew began to scramble here quickly, but they're not really sure. They're just waiting for Rusty to make an appearance, and they're like what we are doing right now. They're watching to see if he will bring the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac on pit road. Because obviously he has a serious problem getting the car into the corner, so apparently that is the case.
He has dropped back to 5th position and stands a chance of losing it to Harry Gant, who's trying desperately to get around. Harry looking toward the outside now as they come off the 4th corner. Gant moving alongside of Rusty Wallace and takes the position going into 1. And here comes Hut Strickland right behind. Jimmy Spencer and Chad Litter also racing together.
And they're having good runs here today. Spencer up in the top 5 for a long time, still running about 6th or 7th. And Chad Little having a great day here as well.
Debris being shown on the racetrack. Rusty would certainly like to have a caution period right here to get that debris off and allow him. It appears to be only paper, so it cannot be classified as debris. And so Rusty is going to have to make a serious decision here in the next few laps as to whether to continue to lose positions or bring that car in for a stop.
Well, he's going to fool around and cost himself a lap on the racetrack here, and that really will be expensive when he could have come into the pits and maybe not have lost over 1 lap. So I think he's probably going to come in now.
Yes, here he comes.
Was sideways, and here comes Rusty. Jerry Punch, he's headed toward you.
A tough break for Rusty Wallace, the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac under the green. They wanted to wait and make their pit stop in about 30 laps with another yellow flag, but no such luck. They will change right side tires. In fact, they're going to change all 4 tires. They're not really sure what the problem is. They had no choice but to change all 4. Jimmy Maycar has changed the right side tire. Now he and Eddie Nickerson jump around to the left side of the car. Jack going to clean the windshield. He'll pull the Goodyear tires off. Field now going by. Rusty now working on down. Next hit road, 22.4 seconds.
But he is 2 laps down as he goes back out on the track. He was about a lap, 2/3 of a lap, and the yellow is just now out.
Yeah.
Boy,
bad timing for Rusty Wallace. The yellow is displayed to the field. Boy, you make a great 4-tire change. It takes you 22 seconds, and you lose 2 laps.
Well, he was about 2/3 of a lap down before he came in, and so it didn't take long to get that first lap down. As a matter of fact, by the time he got to his pits, he was already that first lap down.
Now, I would guess that these fellows are going to be able to pit, or will choose to pit. The odds.
Now, if they choose, here are the odd-numbered pits.
Well, here's Davey Allison coming down pit road. Yeah, the odd numbers appear to be coming in.
John Kernan right there.
They just got the signal from the NASCAR officials, 2 laps to go, but Davey has decided to come down and pit anyway. They will take 4 tires. Looks like they're not going to make any chassis adjustments. We were expecting Ricky Rudd to come in, but Ricky was unable to come in at this point just because of the length of the caution period. The rights are already on, the lefts aren't going on right now. They're making sure that they get the lug nuts tight. A 21.5 second pit stop 4 tire change is really good.
So 4 of the odd-numbered cars have made pit stops.
And the reason Ricky Rudd didn't come in, he is an even-numbered car, so he couldn't come in until this next time around.
Dr. Jerry Punch has a comment on Ernie Irvin. Doctor?
You may be wondering why Tony Glover and the Kodak crew did not bring Ernie Irvin in. Tony said, I desperately need to get Ernie in here and get this car dialed in and adjusted. He's got a car that's not handling well at all. And we sort of told Ernie, okay, well, you got a choice. You can come in and get fresh tires. We'll dial the car in, but you're going to have to start way in the back. And Ernie said, are you kidding me? It's a jungle back there. I'm staying where I am.
Well, track position is definitely important, especially on a tight track like this.
It really is, because we've seen how tough it is to pass.
Now you can see how they are lining up. The 19 car of Chad Little is an odd-numbered car, and so he goes to the inside of the racetrack and again picks up many positions because of this.
He's an odd number qualifier,
right.
Although his number is an odd number.
Yeah.
Michael Waltrip is also number 30. He's an odd qualifier,
Yeah,
so that's why they're on the inside.
We should point out that the odd and even have absolutely nothing to do with the car number. It is where you qualified and where you start in the race. Green flag is out.
But still an impressive run for Chad Little. He started 31st and now is up there in 3rd place.
Sitter and early leader Rusty Wallace is back in the middle of the pack, and as we said a little bit ago, he's now 2 laps down to these cars.
And I'll tell you, the way the rules are now, baby, that's going to be tough to make up because of where he's going to have to restart the race. He's going to have to restart unless he just happens to be right up at the front when the caution comes out.
Now Michael Waltrip in car number 30 is the 4th car in line, but he is a lap down because of an incident with Dick Trickle a few laps ago.
Because Ricky Rudd is leading, Ernie Irvin is 2nd, Chad Little is 3rd, Harry Gant 4th, and Jimmy Spencer in 5th place. Joe Ruttman is 6th, Kyle Petty 7th, and 8th is Mickey Gibbs, 9th Rick Mast.
And there is Rusty Wallace, who finds himself back in 25th position and 2 laps down to the field.
24 car Mickey Gibbs. Rusty trying to get by. He's got position. No, can't quite make the pass down the front straightaway. If Mickey can slip up just a little bit, Rusty will be by him. There he goes.
So Rusty goes to the inside, and now Mark Martin hopes to do the same. He pulls to the inside of Mickey Gibbs in the 3rd turn, and he too picks up a position. Rusty Wallace, the pole sitter for this event, won his first Winston Cup race ever at this racetrack, was looking very strong in the early going of this event, but came in for a 4-tire change under green and is trying desperately to work his way back up through traffic. Right in front of Rusty Wallace is Rick Mast, who has a lot of damage on the right front of that race car, but still it is performing well.
And he's still in the lead lap. With all that work they've done on the car, they've been able to keep him in the lead lap.
Going in 9th place right now.
The number 98 car is Jimmy Spencer. Right behind him is Chad Little, and Spencer having a great ride.
This is probably the best I've ever seen Jimmy Spencer run in a Winston Cup stock car race. He's now in 4th spot. A little bit of smoke out of Harry Gant's car. I don't know what that was, if it was tire smoke or something out of the exhaust.
And Chad Little is right behind Jimmy Spencer. Look at the movement that he has had today. On lap number 25, he was 28th. At the end of 75 laps, he moved to 11th. He was in 8th by the end of 100 laps, and now at the end of 115, he is all the way up to 5th place. Chad Little, great run. Ernie Irvin, meanwhile, putting a lot of pressure on the leader of the race, Ricky Rudd. And Ernie Irvin takes it down into corner number 1, looking for the inside. He's going to pass Ricky Rudd, and Ernie Irvin has the lead.
21 cars in the lead lap. Ricky Rudd didn't offer a great deal of resistance as we look back out of Ernie Irvin's car at the Ricky Rudd.
This is the first time that Ernie Irvin has led a Winston Cup race since he took the checkered flag at the Daytona 500. From his bumper cam, we look back on Ricky Rudd, who's about 4 or 5 car lengths behind. Here's Harry Gant, who is trying to get around Michael Waltrip. Gant is our 3rd place runner right now. Again, Michael Waltrip is not on the lead lap. Jimmy Spencer behind. Gant moving alongside of Michael Waltrip, and he passes. And I believe that Jimmy Spencer is going to be able to do the same thing here in the 3rd and 4th turns.
That sponsor on Jimmy Spencer's car is Food City, a local supermarket chain up in western part of Virginia, eastern Tennessee.
58,300 people have made their way into Bristol International Raceway today, breaking the attendance mark for this event.
And they're going to build 4,000 more new seats down here in turn 4 next to the scoreboard, the Winston Cup Series scoreboard.
And they'll fill every one of them, I guarantee you. Plus, they'll still have people sitting on the hill. The leader is Ernie Irvin. Running in 2nd spot is Ricky Rudd. 3rd is Harry Gant, then Jimmy Spencer and Chad Little. We'll be back with more from Bristol after this. Ernie Irvin leads the Valleydale Meets 500 at Bristol International Raceway. Ricky Rudd is 2nd, Harry Gant 3rd, Jimmy Spencer 4th, Chad Little running in 5th at the end of 129 of 500 laps. Our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by Ford and your local Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Ace. Ace is the place with the helpful hardware man. And by Levi's 505 and 540 jeans for men. There's the leader, Ernie Irvin. He stretched the advantage over Ricky Rudd to about 7 or 8 car lengths right now, as Rudd begins to close in on some slower traffic. Back in the pack, meanwhile, some good racing going on. There you can see the 3rd and the 4th place competitors, Harry Gant. And here is Chad Little, Mickey Gibbs, and Bobby Hamilton.
That's Ted Musgrave, 55, sorry. Not Mickey Gibbs.
Now, we mentioned to Bobby Hamilton, we thought he blew an engine earlier. He did put some oil down on the track, but apparently it was an oil line or an oil filter or something, because Bobby Hamilton, the leading rookie contender this year, is back out there in the Country Time Lemonade car.
As a matter of fact, that's the only 2 rookies in the race running side by side. Ted Musgrave on the outside, Bobby Hamilton on the inside.
The number 19 car of Little and the 42 of Kyle Petty got together a few laps ago. Yeah, they did get together coming off the 4th turn.
Yeah, they were racing for position. Kyle was trying to get by the Chad Little car, but they got together and Kyle dropped several positions in that maneuver.
Chad Little running in 5th spot. Ted Musgrave in 5th.
6th, that would be.
6th, right?
And Kyle in 7th.
Is Kyle.
8th now is Rick Mast.
Now look at this. Rudd has moved up on the back bumper of Ernie Irvin just a little bit ago. What was it? 15, 20 car length advantage. Now it's 0. So does Ernie Irvin have a problem?
Well, it said a while ago that he needed a pit stop. Jerry Punch reported that he needed a pit stop to get some tires on it, but maybe after he runs a little while, the tires gets heated up and starts dropping back a little.
Our field snapshot allowing you to look for your favorite driver, see where he is in position with the leader. As Irvin stops the clock at 17.5 seconds. That is an average speed. Oh, my calculator isn't working, Benny. Figure that out in your head real quick.
Well,
hurry.
That's above me.
Oh.
Well, it's pretty quick for the way the track is
there
right
you go.
now.
That's a good answer.
And they got hot tires on those cars. Rick Mast is called Kyle Petty.
7th position battle here. Kyle Petty and Rick Mast.
It's amazing that one car is able to run as well as it is, because it looks like a refugee from a junkyard.
Yeah, it certainly isn't very aerodynamic in the right front of the car, but it runs all right.
Right behind them is the Folgers Ford, Martin Martin.
By the way, that was 109.645 mile-an-hour lap. Now Rudd right behind Urban as they put another lap on Dale Earnhardt, who was involved in a crash early in the event. And look at Harry Gant.
Harry Gant has moved up right on the back bumper of Rudd, and he's brought Jimmy Spencer with him.
Good ride for Spencer.
Now, the first 5 cars, fellas, have not made a pit stop. They've run a little over 140 laps. I would say once they get around that 160 lap mark that they're going to have to be thinking about the pit stop for at least gas.
Harry Gant trying to pick up second. He does, and Jimmy Spencer comes with him. Rudd back to 4th. And now Harry Gant sets his sights on the leader, Ernie Irvan.
Well, Ned, when we talked about first-time winners at the top of the show, we forgot to mention Jimmy Spencer.
That's right. Yep.
Spencer started this race back in 20th position.
Watching these out of the back bumper, we can tell just how fast the outside retaining wall goes by the cars, the speed they're reaching down the straightaway. Again, about 130 miles per hour at the end of the straightaway, turning right into a 36-degree bank.
Kyle Petty and Mark Martin now involved in a battle for 8th position. Mark Martin showing a little bit of damage on the left side of that. Folgers Ford, number 6.
Mark had the position just a lap ago. Kyle has taken it away. Now he's taking a look on the inside.
He may have it because Kyle has let that car drift up high. Martin pulls alongside and takes the position.
Boy, Ned, it looks like that outside groove is treacherous here this afternoon.
Yes, it does. So, although they're beginning to move up a little bit down in turn 1, I don't know if that'll help them once they start passing or how it'll be, but it has been tough out there once you get out there.
Oh, look, Gant has picked up something, some tape or something on the from the racetrack. Maybe it's a piece off of some car. Anyway, it's plastered right up against the front of that car.
Looks like something off Sterling Marlin's car. It's about the color of Sterling's car. I don't think it would hurt anything unless it gets over the brake duct. The air inlet just to the right on our screen of that piece of blue is an inlet for air duct for brake ducts. But I don't think it's hurting anything like that. That's where it is right there.
And here these guys on and off the accelerator constantly around this half-mile racetrack. Turns banked at 36 degrees. 150 laps are completed. Back at Bristol, the standings remain the same. It's still Irvan out front. Harry Gant running right behind him there, the number 33. Skolbad to the number 2 car of Rusty Wallace.
He's losing some positions. He's a couple of laps down after that pit stop, but right now the car is not at the speed. The one car, Rick Nass, just passed him, and Mark Martin taking a look on the last lap on the inside was not able to get by, but clearly outrunning Wallace, our pole sitter at this point.
Wallace is shown in 23rd. 2 laps down to the field after a green flag pit stop. There's Mark Martin, who has himself begun his comeback. He is 6th in points going into this race. That car is showing a lot of damage. And he just touched the wall coming out of the corner, it looked like. Yep.
Ooh, did he ever? He said that was just a little bit too close, but now he's coming back with no real damage. All he did was scrape some sheet metal.
Morgan Shepherd is in the pits on the backstretch and the Motorcraft Ford for a 4-tire change. There'll be others coming in, those that have a big bet. They'll get a chance now. Jeff Bodine has spun. That's the caution that these leaders were looking for because they were about ready for pit stops under green.
The caution does come out, although Jeff Bodine gets the car headed in the right direction. The yellow flag is out for the 9th time this afternoon. Now we will see these pit rules come into effect.
Oh, yeah, no question about it. Those drivers the leaders, the first 5, had not pitted yet, and so they were going to have to come in under green before long.
And here are the guys that will come in first, those that are odd numbered according to their starting positions.
See, now Ernie Irvin dove in the pits, and that's wrong.
Well, the pit road is open.
But he can't. He's an even car.
Oh, okay.
He made a mistake and dove in.
And he realizes that and continues on. He does not stop for service. He just keeps going.
The pit road was open, but only to the inside rows that qualified in the odd positions. And Ernie was an even position. He was not able to pit.
And I would imagine that there would be no penalty imposed on Ernie Irvin. For one thing, he didn't stop. And secondly, NASCAR made it very clear to the drivers that they would understand that everybody has to get used to this new procedure. Now, here are the even-numbered machines that will be coming in this time. The even-numbered pits, Harry Gant, Ricky Rudd, Ernie Irvin is now making a pit stop. So is Mark Martin, Rick Mast, Kyle Petty, Hut Strickland. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
Obviously, a little bit of red-faced. Ernie Irvin brings the Kodak Chevrolet into the pits, and the crew will change all 4 tires. And NASCAR watched what Ernie did a minute ago and sent a NASCAR official over to talk to Tony Glover. Of course, Ernie, realizing his mistake as they changed now left-side tires, slowed the car down, making sure he did not pass the pace car still on the racetrack as he came down pit road. So we'll see that NASCAR will allow Ernie to go back out and not hold him at all, because Ernie did rectify indeed his own mistake.
Well, theoretically, if this pit procedure works, there should be a space between every car. And down here toward turn number 1, we had 5 cars.
What happened together? Alan Kowicki, who was an odd car, was not caught up with the field and did not pit when his time came to pit. He came around the next lap and pitted, and I think that's okay as far as the rules are concerned.
So the caution out, and the cars are getting lined up for a restart here at Bristol International Raceway. Back at Bristol, where the realignment is underway, it could almost be described as a scramble, but everybody is getting in position, 2 abreast formation for the restart of this Valleydale Meets 500. We will not go back to green this time.
I don't know. Evidently, I don't know what the problem is, why we're not going to green. Evidently, NASCAR does not like the lineup or something.
Well, of course, they do give them 2 laps on the short track now with these new rules to get lined up. They give them 2 laps to go, but they're holding them an extra lap this time. And you're probably right, Danny. They're not pleased with the way everybody is.
And I don't think they're going to get the 1 lap to go signal this time by.
They're telling somebody to go to the back of the line.
They sure are. Well, anyway, let's go back a year ago and look at how crowded pit road was when the yellow flag came out. And you can see there was just mass chaos, everybody in trying to get tires on. This is just a few minutes ago. Now, as you can see, there is a little bit of congestion here and near turn 1, but not nearly as bad overall.
And that's the worst it will ever be. Right there is the worst it will ever be. So obviously it's something that we have to do.
And again, compare that to last year when almost every pit here on the front stretch, 17 stalls were here. And look at the number of people on pit road for that matter. 7 men are allowed over the wall on each car this year. And again, we go back. Boy, a lot less congested in terms of number of people over the wall.
Yes, this is by far the safest thing they could do.
Fellas, that car that they were going to put to back of the line, Alan Kowicki, because he came in out of sequence. But you mentioned, you know, that he had come in. He is an odd car, and he came in while the even cars were pitting. And so they announced in the drivers' meeting, fellas, you go to the rear of the pack if you do that.
Not only Alan Kowicki, but also Hut Strickland and Ernie Irvin are being sent to the back of their respected rows because of pit road infraction.
So Ernie Irvin would be coming down pit road was an infraction.
Yep. Even though they didn't do anything to the car, it still was an infraction. Okay, green flag waving again.
Here we go. Petty finds himself at the front of the field. However, he is 5 laps down.
Rusty Wallace, who is 2 laps down. Leader is Ken Schrader, the white car on the outside. Here comes Michael Walter. He's trying his best to get his lap back. He's 1 lap down. He's on the inside of the leader, and here comes Ricky Rudd. If he can get by Schrader, he'll be the absolute leader of the race.
Only 2 cars, believe it or not, out of the race, despite all the banging and crashing that we have had in this event. Only 2 are behind the wall.
That's hard to believe. There's been a lot of work done on a lot of cars, and some of them are a lot of laps down, like Dale Earnhardt and Brett Bodine and Bobby Hamilton, but they're still out there running.
Rusty Wallace passing King Richard, going to the front of the line. And look at Ricky Rudd, 4th in line. Rudd, the leader of the race. Boy, the Rick Hendrick team has changed completely from last year.
They do have a team concept now, and it looks like it's working awfully well. Both he and Schrader both been much more competitive this year than in 1990.
Their drivers are 1st and 4th in the point standings going into this race. Rudd on top and Schrader 38 points behind in 4th.
Right now the car is running 1-2 on the racetrack.
And in 3rd place is Davey Allison. 4th is Mark Martin. 5th, Harry Gant. 6th is Ted Musgrave. 7th, Joe Rutman.
Ken Schrader, Davey Allison, Mark Martin, and Harry Gant are the cars we're showing you now as they scramble for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Passing Bobby Hamilton on the high side of the track. Hamilton in that yellow-green number 68.
Here's some cars that have been dicing it up. Just a moment ago, Chad Little, Dale Jarrett, and Jimmy Spencer all really got tight up there. Jarrett did get around Spencer, who is on the back bumper now. The Tyson Harley Farms forward of Chad Little. That's the Citgo bumper cam that we're looking at there. Whoops, Kyle Petty goes a little high. Chad Little tries to get under it. Couldn't quite do it.
Came up on him real quick, but didn't make the pass. And this is the rear end of the number 19 car driven by Chad Little. And once again, Kyle goes high on the track in turns 3 and 4. Chad Little running in 9th. And Dale Jarrett carrying our camera. Citgo in car cam running 10th.
They're about to run up on a big pack of cars right in front of them. They're Morgan Shepherd, who had made that green flag pit stop just as the caution was coming out.
Look at, touching there. Contact between Chad Little and Kyle Petty.
Now, they've already had some contact earlier today. We saw that when they were battling for 6th position a little while ago.
Kyle Petty trying to get that outside groove working. I see several cars running a little bit higher than they used to be.
Yeah, the outside groove might be coming in a little bit now, Benny.
It looks like it is.
Kyle's able to hold his position, even though Chad Little is on the inside, and now Kyle pulls completely around Chad Little.
Race for 2nd place, Kenny Schrader in the white 25, Davey House in the black 28. Davey was inside, Kenny coming off turn 2, couldn't make the pass. He's going to try it again.
Allison, the defending champion of this race, beat Mark Martin by 8 inches. Oh, and Davey almost lost it with contact with Schrader coming off of corner number 2, but Davey held on to 3rd. But it allowed Harry Gant to close right in.
Then that inside groove is just not nearly as good as it was a few laps ago.
No, it's slick down there now, and especially with a car that has as much horsepower as Davey Allison's car does have, it'll break loose very easy with you down there, as we saw.
We can see that's taking a little bit of oomph out of Davey Allison. He's backed up 4 or 5 car lengths since he slipped coming off 2. Harry Gant's moved up, trying to take that spot away.
Here's how it happened.
But he gets the nose down under him, or tries to, going into the turn, and Schrader moves up, gives him plenty of room, but Allison steps on the gas, and the back end just breaks loose from him.
I don't think there was any contact. I think he just stepped on the gas and around it went, or started to go around.
Now Harry still looking for the chance to pass Davey. They're alongside.
And Kyle Petty is mud.
Kyle Petty looping in turn number 4. Everybody gets slowed down, and there'll be no other vehicle involved, but Kyle Petty brings out caution number 10.
I thought to myself, that wasn't a very good spot to park.
And look at this. Just before that spin, there was some bumping between Dale Jarrett and Chad Little. And Kyle was right ahead of those 2 cars. And also,
all those cars had to dodge Kyle when he spun.
They just barely got straightened out from their own thing back there when they had to start dodging Kyle.
So 10 caution periods already, and we've only run 186 laps. We are on record-setting pace for number of caution flags. The record number 20, that's held right here at Bristol. Still under caution here at Bristol. Few have made pit stops. Here are the top 10. Ricky Rudd, the leader. Ken Schrader running second. Then Davey Allison, Harry Gant, and Ted Musgrave. 6 through 10 show us that the 55 car, make that the 75 car, running in 6th position. Then comes Mark Martin and Chad Little. Let's go to the pit area and a report on Ricky Rudd.
Well, Bob, what is it? 10th caution of the day, and look up on the scoreboard, 189 laps. We know the drivers riding around at 35 miles an hour. It gives them a lot of chance to talk with their crews and crew chiefs on the radio. Well, Ricky Rudd and Waddell Wilson have been talking, and a little bit ago, Waddell radioed out to Ricky and said, hey, you ever been in a race where there have been so many restarts so early, so fast? Ricky said, no, if I'd have known we were going to have this kind of a race today, I would have asked you all to put in the drag racing setup.
Good line.
Yeah.
We'll show you from the bumper cam on Dale Jarrett's car how Kyle Petty got loose in turns 3 and 4.
He's right in front of the. We see him up there. There wasn't anybody around. I didn't see any other car around. So, and Kyle goes in, backs in the fence. There is some pretty good damage to the rear of that mellow yellow Pontiac, the Tom Cruise look-alike.
Still no indication that they'll be going green soon. No word to the drivers yet to begin reformation. So we'll take another break and be back with more of the Valleydale Meets 500. ESPN Speed World live coverage today at Bristol International Raceway in Tennessee for the Valleydale Meets 500. Right after this race at 4:30 this afternoon here on ESPN, the final round of the Bosch & Loam Championship Women's Tennis from Amelia Island, Florida. It'll be Steffi Graf against Gabriela Sabatini. That's at 4:30 this afternoon, right after our Winston Cup race. Let's go to Jerry Punch, who's with Tony Glover.
Ernie Irvin has been in twice during the caution flag. Tony, what were you doing with the car?
Well, we made a little chassis adjustment, and Ernie's tail's getting a little warm, so we put a piece of matting under his seat, but we'll be okay.
Ernie Irvin definitely has a hot seat out there. Apparently the rear end apparently burning underneath the car. They said Ernie was complaining that it was a little warmer than he wanted to have, so now he's sitting on a little foam rubber cushion. Back to you, Bob.
All right, and we're getting set for the restart. Pace car pulls off the racetrack, and the green flag flies once again. Oh, and Ken Schrader spins right at the starting line. Bangs the inside wall, stalls near the end of the pit wall as the field will come around again and receive the yellow flag for the 11th time today.
Schrader cannot get the car started to move back to his pits. He makes some pretty heavy contact with that inside wall.
Yes, he did. So he has now gone a lap down. Boy, we said there'd be more action once they got these pit rules where they could make pit stops, and there has been some action, hasn't there? I don't know if that has anything to do with it, which it probably doesn't, but the cars are bunched up.
Yeah, they definitely are. Anytime you got cars bunched, you have stand the chance of a crash. And here is our latest one.
Somewhere from the middle of the pack, Strader just comes out of there sideways. It's like he just stood on the gas or someone ran in the back of him. You can't really tell what happened.
Yeah, I would say he got a little bit of help, Benny.
Well, Kenny's climbed out of the car. It's going to be taken off the racetrack on a wrecker. So the winner of the Atlanta race walks back to the pit area. Ken Schrader out of the action at the moment, at least here. And Jerry Punch is right there.
First, Kenny, you took quite a lick up there. You okay?
We took a pretty hard hit. I just knocked the air out of me for a minute, but I'm okay.
What actually happened?
You know, I was trying to get in the hole. There probably wasn't enough room, and somebody was trying to keep me in it. NASCAR needs to look at these pit rules. They've really got them messed up now.
Kenny Schrader will let him go down and talk to his crew chief, holding his side a little bit the rib cage against the right side of the seat when the car spun around. So hopefully he'll go to the infield care center momentarily and get checked out.
He was talking about the odd even pit rules and the way that the cars line up. What happens is when the odd cars line up on the odd cars, the cars that qualified on the inside rows, the cars that qualified on the outside row are designated odd and even. Well, what happens is on the odd row, you have fast cars intermingle with slow cars. On the outside row, you have fast cars intermingle with slow cars. The way it used to be, you always had the slow cars on the inside and the faster cars to the outside. Now they're just wadded up in a group, and that's one problem they're going to have to address.
And Kenny said that he was trying to find a hole. He was trying to get to the inside. Everybody on the restarts have been trying to get back to that inside groove, because up until maybe the last 10 or so laps, the inside groove was the place to be, and apparently that's still where he wanted to be.
Ken Schrader's car is off the racetrack. He is out of the race. We'll be back with more action from Bristol in a moment. Have just taken the green flag to resume the racing on the 201st circuit out of 500. Ricky Rudd, the leader of the race. Davey Allison is second, followed by Harry Gant. Running fourth is Mark Martin. Fifth is Ted Musgrave.
See, the cars are just a little bit higher, only a couple of feet, but they are higher now than they were lap one.
Yeah, but it's not far enough yet, Benny, that starting on that outside can be good for them. There were a number of cars. Darrell Waltrip and Dale Jarrett got caught on the outside and lost about 4 or 5 positions on that restart there, both in the even car category.
We're getting closer to the halfway point. To enter the Right Guard Halfway Challenge sweepstakes, call 1-900-420-2222 sometime between now and the 250th lap, and we're at 204. If you're called back during today's race and you can name the driver who has won the Right Guard Halfway Challenge award, you'll win a new Pontiac Grand Prix SE. The Right Guard Halfway Challenge coming up in just a few laps. The number again, 1-900-420-2222. And that award will be worth $20,000 today because it rolled over from last week when Michael Waltrip was leading at the halfway point, but his team does not participate in that Right Guard Halfway Challenge. 75-19, Joe Ruttman and Chad Little for 6th.
Yeah, Ruttman got a little loose coming off the 2 the last time around. Chad almost got by him, and Ruttman almost lost the car, but he did a good job of holding on to it. Chad Little's running very strong here today.
This has got to be Joe Ruttman's best performance since Daytona when he wound up in 3rd spot.
Most of the NASCAR Winston Cup fans would say, well, Chad Little's supposed to be sponsored by Bullseye. He is at most races, but a few selected races his sponsor is Tyson.
And behind those 2 cars come Alan Kulwicki in car number 7 and Bobby Hillen in number 20.
And right behind him is Darrell Waltrip. Bob, we haven't said much about Darrell Waltrip today. He's one of those even cars that is hitting on the backstretch, but he has been running good. He almost went a lap down when we had that long green flag run, but caution came out and saved him, and since then he has been running very strong.
Darrell Waltrip.
And while we're talking about Waltrip, we mentioned earlier that Michael Waltrip, we saw him get a lap down when he spun out, but he made a green flag pit stop later, so he actually went 2 laps down at one time. He made one of those laps up, but he and Rusty Wallace now are each 1 lap down.
That's right. We haven't said that Rusty Wallace also did make up a lap the last time on the last caution flag.
Darrell Waltrip has won more races here at Bristol than any other driver, 11. And from 1981 through 1984, he put together a string of 7 consecutive wins here at Bristol. Good battle for second spot now as Harry Gant and Davey Allison go at it.
Gant got in this position 4 or 5 laps ago and lost the back end slip coming off turn 2. We're down in turn 1 now, coming off 2 again. The back end slip 4 or 5 laps ago, and Harry just now is caught back up with Davey. And a good strong move off turn 2 that time, didn't lose the back end. Here comes Kowicki. He's on the move. Pulled up on the back of Chad Little.
And Benny, when you consider the fact that they put him in the rear, you know, after those last pit stops, he has come back up through the pack very well.
He's looking inside and outside, goes from high now to the inside of Chad Little. Meanwhile, second place, good battle, and there is Alan Kowicki, who passes Chad Little.
This car is working well today, Alan Kowicki.
That moves Alan up into 7th position. Chad Little back to 8th.
9th is Bobby Hillin. Darrell Waltrip is 10th. Dale Jarrett 11th. In 12th place will be Terry Labonte. The Ernie Irvin car being 13th. Rick Mast 14th.
And a great run for Ted Musgrave. Boy, you just can't say enough about this guy who's come from the ASA ranks, as so many of today's Winston Cup drivers have, and he is putting on a great performance. But look at the pressure now being put on Joe Ruttman by Alan Kowicki. Again, Alan looks high. Ooh, and he makes contact.
And is going by on the outside. Joe realized he was out there. Did not move the car up off turn 2, and Alan takes a spot away from Ruttman.
Well, I'll tell you, that's the mark of a good handling car. But here comes Chad Little. He's going to try that too. He saw it work for Kowicki. He said, well, let me try that.
And he's not going to be as successful.
Nope.
It's clouding up. Weatherman said a 50% chance of rain this afternoon. We started this event in a bright sunshine, but now it's clouded up. The forecast is for, although a 50% chance of rain, not until later this afternoon. So we have a pretty good chance of getting this race in its entirety. But nevertheless, it is much cloudier and windier than it was earlier.
We see Kowicki dispensing those fellas, and now he's moving up on Musgrave. Only a few car lengths behind. What's that? 3 or 4 car lengths behind Ted. Both these drivers, products of the ASA, they run racetracks like this all year long. Salem, Indiana, Winchester, Indiana, tracks that are very similar to the Bristol layout. High bank, half-mile speedways.
Let's take a look at how Ted has moved up through the field. At the 50th lap, he was 19th. He was 12th at the end of 100, 6th at the end of 175, and now on the 221st circuit, he has moved all the way up to 5th.
Let's give a call to his sponsor, Alka-Seltzer. That's normally Jimmy Mean's sponsor. Jimmy did not make the field here, so he agreed to move the sponsorship over to Ted Musgrave's car, and there the Alka-Seltzer is getting passed by the Hooters car.
So into 5th position goes Alan Kowicki. Kowicki to 5th, Musgrave to 6th. There were a couple of drivers who were going for milestones here this weekend. J.D. McDuffie wanted to make his 650th Winston Cup race, and Jimmy Means was trying to make his 450th, and neither one of them qualified fast enough to make the field. Here's Harry Gant once again, and the race with Davey Allison for 2nd spot.
Man, I think Harry's been held up right now. I believe if he gets by Davey, he'll go on right up to Rudd.
I think you're right. But he's just having a tough time getting around Davey Allison. Davey has so much horsepower on the straightaway. Once he pushes that gas and gets traction, he takes off. See there, he pulls away about a car length down the backstretch. Gant seems to pull in a little bit on the turn. Mickey Gibbs coming into the pits in car number 24. Probably an unscheduled pit stop for him. Left side tires going on the Team 3 Pontiac.
You know, guys, in previous races, you come to Bristol, you think that you're going to see a lot of tire smoke, a lot of guys smoking that right rear tire. We haven't seen a whole lot of that this weekend. Any particular reason you think?
I think it's the sealer they put on the Speedway since our race here last. Evidently, both right side tires are getting an equal grip and not smoking either front or rear.
That's a good point. They have put a new sealer on this racetrack. It's a very, very smooth surface that they run on here at Bristol, thus the high speeds. Dale Jarrett right behind Ernie Irvan in the Kodak car.
That's 10th spot. Ernie Irvan in 10th spot. Dale back in 11th.
Irvan on the high side of Mickey Gibbs. He and Bobby Hillin are side by side at number 20.
Now Gibbs just came out of the pits with new left side tires. Should help him a little bit. He does move around Hillin with no problem.
And so does Ernie Irvan.
So that puts Ernie up. I said he was 10th a moment ago. He's now 10th once he got by Hillin. This is from the Sitco bumper cam of Dale Jarrett. He was inside of the 20 car and thought he was going to try it again.
He just couldn't get traction off of turn 2 over there. He was all the way down on the inside of him, but he just couldn't quite make it work.
Looks like he has position on him now. Nope.
There again, still trying to move around Davey Allison.
While they battle for second, the lead continues to be held by Ricky Rudd.
And he is a car ahead of him, Bob. I believe that's 3 car lengths ahead of Davey Allison.
And he's approaching slower traffic. Just ahead is Kyle Petty, Dale Earnhardt, and Jeff Bodine. And yes, we classify Dale Earnhardt in the slower traffic category because he suffered a crash earlier in the event and is way back in 27th position. We'll be right back. Back at Bristol International Raceway, Bob Jenkins, Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, Dr. Jerry Punch, and John Kernan. Good battle up front. They're the first 3 cars as they pass Jeff Bodine. It's Ricky Rudd, Davey Allison, and Harry Gant.
Allison and Gant have pulled up on the back of Rudd, so Rudd not as strong as he was 10-15 laps ago. Rudd's hunting around the racetrack. You saw him that time he came off turn 4 a little bit lower. Now he's up higher in turn. He's hunting for a groove. That means that the car is not feeling just exactly right to him, and he's hunting for that perfect way, that best line around the racetrack.
Here comes Harry to the inside of Davey off the 4th corner. Harry a little bit squirrely coming off there and lost because of it, but he kept 3rd position and now puts the heat right back on Davey. He's going to try it again. Trying to move alongside, but cannot do it.
And what Rudd's looking for is just, I'm not saying he's looking for a better line. All he's looking for is a 0.5 tenth a second, 0.05 of a second, 1/10 of a second.
All right, let's look now at our Big A Auto Parts on-track interval. Now, we timed 5 consecutive laps, laps 222 to 226. We timed Ricky Rudd and the guy that we think might be the fastest car on the racetrack, Alan Kulwicki, and you can see how their times compared. And notice that there was a 3.6-second interval on lap 222, and that shrank to 3.4 by the 226th lap. But you can see that basically the cars are running about the same speed. Kulwicki maybe just a little bit faster than Ricky.
And that's that's exactly what he's looking for. In looking for that extra groove is that other 0.5 tenth of a second, 0.05 of a second.
Rusty Wallace in the pits, but one thing that affected Alan Kulwicki is the fact that he was coming through traffic and still, maybe showing just a tick faster. So I think he really does have the faster car. Here's Rusty Wallace in the pits, going back out now on that scheduled pit stop for him.
But that crewman looked like when he was finished with that car that they didn't fix it. He had a strange look about him, like that there was nothing wrong. Why is he in there? And there the leaders go by Rusty. Rusty desperately needs to get back by then to try to save a lap.
Well, he is at least 2 laps going down.
We're only 3.5 laps away from the right guard halfway challenge lap.
worth $100,000 to the leader of the halfway.
Again, the number to dial 1-900-420-2222. Do it quickly.
And Harry Gant gets by Davey Allison for second place.
Finally, after laps and laps of trying, Harry Gant is second.
But here comes Davey Allison back on the inside, but can he make it stick? No, the car just wouldn't get the traction he needed off of that turn. Same problem Harry Gant has been having.
2 laps to the halfway mark. Ricky Rudd is the leader of the race right now. The number 6 car of Mark Martin still certainly very much in this race. He is in 4th position. There's lap 249. 1 more lap and we'll reach the halfway point.
Look at Harry Gant make a real hard effort trying to get up there, but he's got 2 car lengths to make up now in a half a lap.
Here comes Ricky Rudd off the 3rd and 4th corners. And Ricky Rudd wins the Halfway Challenge Award, $20,000.
Now, excuse me, Bob, but the reason it's $20,000 is last week Michael Waltrip was the leader at the halfway point. He did not have a decal on. He couldn't collect the $10,000, so the Gillette people rolled it over to this week.
That's Strickland coming in with the flat tire on his car.
The name you have to know when the call comes to you, if it does, is Ricky Rudd. He takes home the $20,000 Right Guard Halfway Challenge Award. If you've entered the contest and you're called back, you can win that Pontiac Grand Prix SE by telling them that Ricky Rudd was leader at the halfway point.
Now, boy, here is a big traffic jam. Kyle Petty up on the outside there. He is laps down after spinning out and hitting the wall, but there's a lot of cars, like 10 or 12 cars in a row. Alan Kowicki at the head of that pack trying to move around Jeff Bodine. But there is Brent Bodine. Ted Musgrave is in there. So is Joe Ruttman and Chad Little. Darrell Waltrip has caught up to that pack. And right behind them is Ernie Irvin. A lot of cars. Dale Jarrett has caught up to him. Rick Mast and Terry Labonte back there at the back end of that pack.
Harry Gant making a bid for the lead on Ricky Rudd. Rudd involved in some traffic here as Dick Trickle is in the 34 car to the inside and Sterling Marlin in the 22 car to the outside.
Something happened. Alan Kowicki has blown an engine. He now has hit the wall. Maybe he didn't blow an engine. Something happened. There was smoke coming from it. Then all of a sudden, it must have been a flat tire. Left front tire apparently was flat and just shot him into the wall.
So Alan Kowicki is at the apron of the racetrack, the bottom of turn number 2, and the yellow flag comes out for the 12th time today. Too bad, because Alan was moving up through the field very, very nicely.
He really was. He had a good, fast race car. Okay, the pits are open, and Davey Allison is the first car to come into the pits.
Let's go to John Kernan.
We're anticipating a 4-tire change. Davey has told Larry McReynolds, his crew chief, second race on the team as the crew chief, that the tracks felt just a little bit breezy to him. So he said what they would do is reduce the air pressure in the tires 2 to 3 pounds to make up for that. Again, we are using bias fly tires this week, so the stagger does come into play. Rusty Wallace, who's also back into the pits.
Sterling Marlin also pitted up toward turn number 4.
Okay, 5's going to pit.
Rusty Wallace, we see him there changing the left sides. They haven't put gas in the car because they don't have any gas there. They've frantically been running with the fuel back to the car, but they did not make it. No gasoline.
Here comes Ricky Rudd and Harry Gant into the pits, and here is how Alan Kowicki, you could almost see the car drop down a little bit coming out of turn number 4, and it went into the wall at turn number 1. Rudd, the leader of the race, making a pit stop just past the halfway mark at 2:57. Going to work on the left side of that machine now.
And that's something new. I noticed that Carlton and Rudd's crew, the tire changers are wearing helmets.
Good idea. 26.8-second pit stop for Ricky Rudd, and he goes back out onto the racetrack, but Harry Gant will beat him out.
Yes, he did. Harry Gant made an even better pit stop and is out in front of Rudd. Of course, they are both going to be back in the pack a little bit as a result of them being on the even situation, and the odd numbers came in first and got out first, of course.
There is Mark Martin and Harry Gant. Bill Elliott there in the Coors Light Ford. Now we'll go back and see if we can determine when the tire might have let go on Alan's car.
Well, it started going flat long before this because he backed off, and there we see the smoke coming out from the car when it's went flat, and he goes in the corner and just simply will not turn, and into the wall he goes. And I just got to say, Kawicki is having a hard time catching a break this year.
We are under caution for the 12th time this afternoon here at Bristol International Raceway as we bring you live coverage of the Valleydale Meets 500. Back at Bristol International Raceway, Joe Ruttman is stopped at the start-finish line, and he's being held there so he won't gain an entire lap on the field.
Yeah, he didn't beat the pace car out of the pits on the back, Bob, and so they're holding there to take away the lap really that he gained by going ahead. So
this isn't really a penalty. It just keeps him from gaining a full lap advantage on the field.
Yeah, if they don't let him go pretty soon, it's going to be a penalty.
There he goes. Now they continue to work on Ken Schrader's car. Remember, he was involved in one of the earlier crashes. They continue to work on the left rear of that machine, trying to get it back in the race so that Ken can pick up as many extra bonus Winston Cup points as possible.
And that's strange. They're working on the left side. I think he hit the wall with the right side, but he probably has broken the Panhard bar or the rear sway bar, and they're working over on the left side trying to attach it over there.
And there is more indication of how rough this race has been as Brett Bodine in the Quaker State Buick goes onto the racetrack with a lot of bent sheet metal, and here is some on the Kyle Petty machine.
That looks just like one of the Days of Thunder cars, doesn't it?
12 cars on the lead lap now. After all of the
NASCAR official, we saw him waving behind Kyle's car. That was telling the field, we're not going back green. We are not going back green. What this
probably aren't happy with the way they're lined up to take the green.
Well, Chad Little's in the lead now, fellas. And the car number 19 as Mark Martin peels off to come into the pits. And they are being able to signal now one more lap.
Mark was in 5th position, but relinquishes it now to come in for another pit stop. Going to change tires on the left side of the car.
Oh, I see them. They've got a fender rubbing the tire. We see Steve Meal, the team manager, in there with a big sledgehammer beating that fender away. And now it looks like they're going to put the same tire back on the left front. Maybe he made some contact trying to jockey for position on the restart and knock the fender in.
Very possible. Good.
Okay, this time we should be going back to green. This will be lap 263. Jimmy Spencer on the outside and Chad Little on the inside.
Now, Jimmy Spencer's at least a lap down, Bob. He had made a green flag pit stop. In fact, it might be 2 laps down.
Yes, he is. 2 laps down. So the green comes out, and Chad Little is the leader of this race as Jimmy Spencer takes his car up way high in the racetrack. Now he'll try to get one of the 2 laps back from Chad.
Ricky Rudd and Davey Allison, 2 cars that have consistently been up front all day long. Spencer's on the inside. Let's see if he can make it stick.
Again, this will be to get one of 2 laps back. He takes it in hard in turn number 1 right alongside the leader. They make contact, and he does get the lap back.
And Michael Walker got back in the lead lap.
And now Harry Gant battles for the lead alongside of Chad Little, and Harry is going to take the advantage.
Here comes Ricky Rudd trying to get on the inside of Chad Little. He can't make it. Rudd cannot get by. But meanwhile, you're right. Michael Waltrip and Jimmy Spencer both are in the lead lap. Here comes Rudd on the inside of Chad. Has position now.
Here's Rudd now trying to move on the inside a little, and looks like, well, there was some smoke out of Little's car. It could have been tire smoke as he went high. Now Davey Allison going by, Ernie Irvin about to go by, and right behind him is Darrell Waltrip. Darrell Jarrett right on Darrell Waltrip's bumper as we look out the windshield of Ernie Irvin's car.
Just checking my records, I believe that was the first time that Chad Little had ever led a Winston Cup race. He isn't in the lead right now, but he did have it there for a couple of laps.
You see Harry Gant right up on top of the screen as we look out the windshield of Ernie Irvin's Kodak Film Chevrolet trying to put Michael Waltrip a lap down.
Michael has had a fast car. He made a green flag pit stop and then lost a lap early in the race in a spin out, but now has worked his way back to the lead lap if he can keep Harry Gant behind him. Right.
Doesn't look
Doesn't that time, no. Gant's car just wouldn't get the bike coming onto that turn that he needed. Jimmy Spencer pulled away from them. Rick Mast was just in for an unscheduled pit stop. Dick Trickle also going into the pits on the backstretch.
Now Harry bumps with Michael Waltrip in the second corner and tries to put Michael a lap down again.
I think he's got the position this time.
Yep.
Michael won't give up, though.
Well, he's hanging right up there. Harry gave him the running room. He'll get it this time. There he goes.
Here's the battle for second. Rudd and Davey Allison and Ernie Irvin. 3 cars.
As he tries to get alongside Davey Allison. Kyle Petty up on the high side. We've talked about Kyle back in the fence earlier on. Some damage to that car, so therefore he's not at full speed.
The first 6 cars are running right together there as Ricky Rudd tries to move on the inside of the Michael Waltrip car. Again, is pulled out now while they battle behind the 30 car Michael Waltrip. He's pulled out a little bit of a lead, but then you have Rudd, Davey Allison, Ernie Irvin, Darrell Waltrip, and Dale Jarrett. That's the first 6 cars.
We haven't talked very much today about Darrell Waltrip, but I'm telling you, he's right there in contention.
He really is. He's on the scoreboard now in 5th position. He's one of those cars that is an even number hitting on the backstretch, which certainly hitting on the backstretch is a disadvantage. So is Dale Jarrett in the same position.
We're watching from Dale Jarrett Sitco bumper cam. Just ahead is Darrell Waltrip.
Looks like these cars are fairly evenly matched now. No one seems to have an advantage other than Harry Gant, and he's pulled out to a 8 or 10 car length advantage. But these cars are running together now. Seems to be awfully even.
There's Harry as he shows the way here with 279 laps completed in the Valleydale Meets 500.
Here goes Ernie taking a look. Not able to get by Davey.
Try it again.
Didn't work that time either. Shall we try again? Oh, why not?
Why not? Sure. We're having fun. But he can't get that traction down on the inside.
Now he draws alongside, almost completely alongside of Davey. And they battle wheel to wheel into the second turn.
He might get him now this time, fellas, going into turn 3. He's up a little bit further than he's been doing. That might be enough, if he can get the traction.
Well, he's doing this an inch at a time, isn't he,
yes,
man?
He is. That's tough pass. That's the way you have to do it here, Preston. You have to work and work and work.
He got a little sideways there out of 4, but held on.
Well, but he got sideways also coming off of 2. And
even more sideways.
Yeah, broke that traction, so he wasn't able to make the pass.
Lake Speed's car. He was another car injured. Car was injured in an early accident. Of course, all these cars have been in an earlier accident, haven't they?
Most of them, that's true.
Our Western Auto race recap shows that Harry Gant leads the event. He's led 8 of the 270 laps, 12 caution periods so far for a total of 68 laps. We have 11 cars that are on the lead lap, and the average speed of the event is down at 75.35 miles an hour. Those that have picked up 5 Winston bonus points include Rusty Wallace, Ricky Rudd, Ernie Irvin, Harry Gant, Ken Schrader, and Chad Little. Those are the guys that have led at least 1 lap. And believe it or not, despite all the bumping and banging and crashing, only 3 cars are officially out of the race. Gary Cope, Rick Wilson, and Bobby Hamilton. The Western Auto Mechanic of the Year. Oh, we have a spin in turn number 4 as we see Waddell Wilson leads the Mechanic of the Race point standings at the moment, followed by Larry McReynolds, Tony Glover, Andy Petrie, and Danny Glad. Richard Petty spun in turn 4, bringing out caution number 13.
Jeff Bodine got into him in the Budweiser Ford, and Harry Gant almost got into Jeff Bodine as they were coming down to the start-finish line. Boy, you can see the damage on the Budweiser Ford.
And Michael Waltrip was able to pass Harry and get his lap back. So, and what happened to Richard was, I think that he and the 20 car of Bobby Hillen made some contact up in 3 and 4. Richard spun around, and Jeff Bodine came along with no place to go except to the side of Richard Petty's car, and that's where he went.
And he gets the car down into his pit area, and they'll assess it. Jerry, what's it look like?
Well, it's hard to imagine this was a Ford Thunderbird when the day began. In fact, Tim Brewer told me about 100 laps ago, so we may run out of sheet metal before we run out of laps. But they certainly have their work cut out for them. They had this car all bandaged, a big bungee cord across the hood to keep the big hood down, but now serious damage to the right front of the car. And the crew, Tim Brewer, and Pete Wright to the right of the car, Mike Hill. They will take a sledgehammer and begin to try to maybe peel some of the sheet metal away. A tough break for Jeff Bodine. Junior Johnson's cars, have won so many times here, 21 times in fact, and now they will take the bigger sledgehammer and do some fine tuning on the right side of the body. Tough break for Jeff Bodine.
Jeff recorded his first top 10 finish of the year last week at Darlington. John Kernan reports the pit stop by Chad Little.
Chad Little had even led for at one point. He was sliding back in the field. He did not come and change tires under that last caution. The car was loose. No, they got a good break here with the caution flag coming out. Chad coming in, taking on 4 tires and a round of wedge in the left rear.
He's one of those pitted on the backstretch. There's Mark Martin, who has come in for a pit stop just ahead of Jeff Bodine, who remains on pit road. 13 caution periods so far. Again, the record number was set here 2 years ago in this race, a Winston Cup record of 20. We'll be back in just a moment. Back at Bristol International Raceway in the Valleydale Meets 500 live today here on ESPN. At the top of the show, we talked about how some drivers have showed their true colors on this racetrack, and careers have been launched here. We've seen great performances by a couple of drivers who are just beginning their careers, so to speak. Ted Musgrave has had a good run, and so has this man, Chad Little at number 19. Here's John Kernan.
Standing by with crew chief Cliff Champion. Cliff, a really great run out there today. Maybe a little surprise to the people watching us that Chad's up front as he is.
Well, it probably is a surprise to the people watching, but it really wasn't too big of a surprise to us because we run good. We came here and tested a couple of weeks ago, ran real good. We came here getting ready for qualifying. The car was running excellent then, and we had some bad luck of having a tire go down in qualifying. So we knew we were going to run good today.
I understand you think you might be able to make it the rest of 200 some laps without stopping for fuel, is that right?
Well, it looks like it right now, but our tires may fall off enough. If they have a caution, we'll probably have to pit anyway. If it stays green, we plan on going all the way right now.
Well, that type of strategy, if the tires do hold out, if they can go the distance, gentlemen, that's a long way to go. He may wind up in victory lane this afternoon. Another surprise.
I think he can safely depend on the caution flag, don't you, Bob?
Yeah, I think we'll probably have at least one more before this race is over. Now they're starting to line up here for a restart. Again, the drivers are given the 2 more laps to go signal nowadays so that they can start lining up for the restart. And now the 1 to go signal is being given. So watch now for your favorite driver as he comes through the screen, and you can see where he is running on the racetrack and where he will be lining up to take the green flag again.
There's Bill Elliott, who was involved in an earlier crash. There's Harry Gant, the leader of the race, going to this caution flag. He qualified in the even rows or the outside rows. He therefore has to restart the race from that position. But he is the boss. He's able to go whenever he feels like hitting the accelerator, and the 28 car of Davey Allison has to follow his lead.
Pace car comes down off the 36-degree banking, and the green comes out.
Well, Davey beat Harry across the start-finish line that time.
After I said all that, Davey beat Harry.
I thought there for a while that Harry was just leading him down for a slow start, but I think maybe there's something wrong with that car. Look at this, 3 abreast through the fourth.
Yeah, I think there is something wrong with the Gant's car. He is definitely off the pace.
Boy, how did they survive that 3 abreast there in the fourth turn?
And he can't get to the inside. He probably wants to go to the pits, but he can't get to the inside. He'll have to wait another lap before he can get to the inside.
And he is going to the back as everybody is coming around him. There's Richard Petty and Sterling Marlin going to the inside, dropping Harry back even further in the field.
Now finally he can get down to the inside, and he's throwing down the back straightaway. I would expect he's going in the pits.
He's slowing, dropping to the apron. Here comes Harry Gant in for an unscheduled pit stop. Here's Jerry Punch.
A flat right side tire for the former leader here at Bristol, Tennessee. Tough break for the Skull Bandit Oldsmobile crew as Andy Petrie then will try to hustle under the green flag and change the right side tires. Gant now goes 1 lap down. They're still working on the right side of the car, trying to get the right side tires on. Gant sitting patiently in the car.
Spin.
Jack pulled away, and Gant is away.
Big crash in turn 2. Chad Little and Mickey Gibbs among others involved.
Michael Waltrip was involved. All of the cars now moving away, Bob, but there's a lot of smoke coming from several of them. They're looking to see the damage from Chad Little's car.
We just talked about how Chad had big hopes here of finishing high up. He has a lot of damage to that car, though, as the sheet metal is bent back and rubbing on both front tires.
Boy, I tell you, the name of the game here today is survival.
Yep, that's for sure.
Of course, that is not that unusual at Bristol. That has always been the case here, Benny, when you were racing and even when I was racing years ago.
There we see the front of Michael Waltrip's car. Here's the tail end of the crash, and we can see Michael Waltrip with no place to go runs in the front of the Chad Little car, and Mickey Gibbs is down on the inside. As to what triggered it, I really don't know. Cliff Champion, good news, bad news. You got the caution flag.
Yeah, but you caused it.
That's right.
Black flag is being displayed to Chad. He'll have to come in and have that car checked over. Well, I think you guys can be credited with speaking from authority when you talk about Bristol International Raceway, because Ned Jarrett was the winner of the summer race here in 1965, and Benny was the winner of the second race, the summer event, in I wrote 73 down, but that can't be right, was it?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Tell everybody I'm so old.
Now here is Harry Gant up high on the racetrack, stacking everybody up, but still, although they came there through there 3 abreast, they survived.
Well, they did for a while, and then a couple of laps later, the 1924 got together somehow.
So Chad Little has heeded the black flag and come in to his pit stop on the backstretch. Let's go to Jerry Punch, who's there with Harry Gant.
Harry Gant back in now for left side tires. What a tough break. He had a right side tire going down. He lost only 1 lap. In fact, if there would be a break for Harry, it was when the caution came out and when he was about to go second lap down, and he only lost the 1 lap in the pits for the green flag stop. He's down and away. Now has 4 fresh tires, so watch for him to possibly make a move to try to get that lap back.
All right, Gant back out on the racetrack. Under our 14th caution flag of the afternoon, Michael Waltrip is behind the wall as they continue to work on that car, trying to get it back into the race. We'll take another break and be back with more of our live coverage of the Valleydale Meets 500. We've completed 303 laps. Have just taken the green flag. They're on the backstretch, having taken the green on lap 3:05.
Wow.
Paint being traded over there in the fourth turn.
Hutch Strickland got caught in the middle of the racetrack, and they went by on both sides, rubbing sheet metal as they went.
Wow. There's the leader, Davey Allison. Second place is Ricky Rudd. Third is Ernie Irvin.
Is this about the race that Davey took over the lead last year in this race?
Maybe a little bit later because he went all the way and didn't make a pit stop.
for the last 175 or 80 laps or so.
Well, he just about lost the lead right there as Ricky Rudd moved in on him, pulled alongside, but Davey held off the challenge, and now Ernie Irvin becomes involved in this battle for the lead.
Strickland apparently had a flat tire there. He came into the pits, and that was the reason he slowed there a moment ago. He's back out now.
Fourth car in line there is Rusty Wallace, who is several laps down. He is 2 laps down in 14th position. He's, of course, the driver eligible for the Unical bonus money, which this week amounted to $22,800, but undoubtedly not winning. Here's Ernie Irvin taking a look. Challenge on Ricky Rudd for second.
Rusty's got a pretty quick car, but I tell you, he's got his work cut out for him to pass 3 of these guys to get back one of his laps. Here comes Ricky.
Now Rudd challenging Allison for the lead. Nope. Inside Ernie Irvin's car.
There we see Ernie. We hear Ernie on and off the throttle, on and off the throttle. Just can't get a grip well enough to go to the mat and hold it there.
Yeah, he's definitely feathering it off of the turns. So he's getting the bike that he would like to have.
The 22 car of Sterling Marlin is on the lead lap. That's unbelievable after all he's gone through. He's still on the lead lap? He's on the lead lap in 9th position, believe it or not. Boy, you got to give a call to him.
And his crew.
Yeah. Ahead of him on the racetrack, there's Terry Labonte and Mark Martin. Mark Martin is also on the lead lap, as is Labonte, 7th and 8th position here. There's Harry Gant, who is back on the racetrack after the unscheduled pit stop. Just ahead of him is the 55 car of Ted Musgrave, the Alka-Seltzer-sponsored car this weekend. There you can see Alan Kowicki back on the racetrack after a crash. And let's also not forget about Dale Jarrett, who is on the lead lap and, as a matter of fact, is in 5th position. He's certainly in a position to win this race.
Well, he's had a good run today, Bob. He has been fortunate to stay out of trouble so far. He almost got in trouble a couple laps ago. He got it completely sideways off of turn 2. If he would have been in the pits, they'd have penalized him 5 laps because he was that sideways, but he got it squared away and kept going.
And just ahead of Dale Jarrett is the 98 car of Jimmy Spencer. Now, he is a lap down in 10th position. The 15 and 17 cars, that's Morgan Shepherd in number 15, and he is 3 laps down. And here now, a battle for the lead once again, and a battle for 2nd position as Allison, Irvin, and Rudd go at it. Rudd takes over, rather drops back to 3rd, and Irvin goes to 2nd.
Yeah, he was trying to get the lead coming off of turn 4, and Ernie Irvin seized the opportunity when Rudd slipped a little bit and moved up into 2nd.
And we remember how much luck Ernie had getting by the 28 several laps ago. Did he ever pass him?
I don't think so.
Darrell Waltrip, number 17. He is in 4th position, and look at his progression through the field from 22nd to 14th at the end of 175 to 8th at the end of 250 laps, the halfway mark, and now with 322 laps completed, he is up to 4th. But up in front, it is still Davey Allison and Ernie Irvin. Ernie looking to the inside off of 4, can't make the pass.
So he'll try down in 1 and 2 as he looks on the inside. Gets up to the left rear. Yep, that's as far as he can get.
Had a good run coming off the corner, but could not pass Davey Allison and take over the lead. Is this it? Nope. Nope. So right now, Allison has the lead, and if we do have a change of position, you will see it in replay when we come back to Bristol International Raceway in East Tennessee. Welcome back to our live coverage of the Winston Cup Valleydale Meets 500 at the end of 330 laps. It's Davey Allison, Ernie Irvan, Ricky Rudd, Darrell Waltrip, and Dale Jarrett running in 5th position. Our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by Citgo, home of high-quality gasoline with HTA 1000 Super Detergent. By Channel Lock, made in America for you who want the best. And by Robert Bosch Corporation, makers of Bosch Platinum, the ultimate spark plug. They continue to run in the same order. Ernie Irvan has made several challenges in the last couple of laps on Davey Allison for the lead, but he has been unable to take over that position, and Ricky Rudd has stayed back in 3rd spot. Now he's going to make another bend. Here's Irvan pulling alongside, almost at the line.
Can't do it. That is fine again. Down in turn 1. But look at him come off the turn 2, lose that traction. David just drive right on the way.
Good race.
I really don't know how these fellas have run as side by side as much as they have and not crashed. I really don't understand it.
They made a neat move there on Hut Strickland, who was at the low side of the racetrack.
But then that groove has really moved up now. You can see Ernie get down on the inside, but he can't get traction down there. The high groove is the place to be right now. Michael Walker took the hood up, going on the back stretch right in front of the leader. So part of his head up.
Kyle Petty loses another lap. Kyle is back in 21st position. He's about 9 laps behind the leader right now. Out of race, behind the wall, Derek Cope, Rick Wilson, and Bobby Hamilton. Several others are behind the wall, getting worked on, but are not necessarily out of the race. Ken Schrader and Dick Trickle have called it a day.
There goes Ernie again. He keeps looking on the inside, coming off the corner, and Davey up high, gets that traction, gets the acceleration, and motors back by and down the straightaway.
Well, we've talked so many times this year about what a difference a year makes between 1990 and 1991 for Ernie Irvan. We asked him, what's different about your driving style in the past 12 months from 90 to 91?
Well, I got a little saying that I've been saying ever since the Bristol race here. I won this race, the nighttime race here at Bristol, from being patient. And I went to Darlington and I was patient. Run second, should have won the race. We go to Dover, I wasn't patient. I busted my butt trying to, stay up with cars, And so I got a saying that is that patience is the hardest thing to get and the easiest thing to forget. And I think this year I've learned a lot of patience. I forgot it at Atlanta, but that's only 1 out of 5 now. So I figured I'm doing pretty good. But patience is the key to this racing. But you got to be patient and aggressive. And you watch Dale Earnhardt. He's real patient when he needs to be. He's real aggressive when he needs to be.
Ernie Irvan, I think, can also add the word maturity to that little phrase that he has, because he's matured a lot as a race driver in the past 12 months.
As he was saying that, I thought that bike played so well because he has been so patient these last 4 or 5 laps. He could have leaned on Davey Allison several times, and maybe he could have gotten by, but maybe they would have crashed. So,
in any case, Davey Allison continues to hang on to the lead. Field snapshot once again. Let the entire field pass through the camera to allow you to see who all is still out there and how far they might be behind the leader. Allison coming off corner number 4 now. He's going to stop the clock at 17.6 seconds.
They've been running anywhere from about 17.5 to 17.665, so they've been pretty consistent in that area.
That's 109.092 miles an hour, so it's just a tick of the watch slower than the lap we timed several laps ago. We'll be back after this to Bristol, Tennessee. Bristol International Raceway, where Ernie Irvan has fallen from second position. Ricky Rudd is now in second behind the leader Davey Allison, and for a while it appeared as if something seriously was wrong with Irvan's car, but he seems to be back on the pace now.
Yeah, he probably felt the car slip a little bit, thought he had a tire going down, and just wanted to get back there and get a feel of it, just see how it was growing. Maybe it's that patience that he was talking about, Benny.
I think he's probably now letting his tires cool. He heated them up pretty good, you know, spinning the rear wheels and whatever. He got the tires pretty hot. I think now he gets back there letting them cool. He'll be up there making a run again. I'm like you. I thought he had a flat tire when he first fell back, but now I think he simply was letting his tires cool and showing that patience.
And one of the cars that we showed you a few minutes ago that was behind the wall is back out on the racetrack. That's Ken Schrader.
Ted Musgrave just made a pit stop. One of the drivers that we've been talking about having a super run here this afternoon.
There is Ken Schrader back on the track after a crash that put him into the front stretch wall earlier in the event. So Ken Schrader is back in competition, trying to gain as many points as he can.
Now Ricky Rudd up trying to take a look on the inside of the 28 car of Davey Allison. You still want to call that tire machine Darrell Walter, Bob?
I mean, more what? 6 races into the season now.
And Ernie Irvan went awfully high off the 2, really slowed down again. Darrell Walter has caught up to
Here
him
comes
now.
Ricky. He is alongside Davey. I thought he was going to get him, but he has to fall back behind him.
Darrell Walter trying to take over third from Ernie Irvan, couldn't quite do it. Irvan really dropped back the last time around, but now seems to have it going again. But
well, congratulations to Kelly Claiborne, 29 years old of Grover City, California. Today's winner in the Right Guard Halfway Challenge sweepstakes. She correctly named Ricky Rudd as the leader of the halfway point and won the Pontiac Grand Prix SE. Now, entries are now being accepted for the next race. You can call 1-900-420-2222, or you can send your name and telephone number to Right Guard Halfway Challenge, Post Office Box 9, Hackensack, New Jersey, the zip code 07602. Congratulations to Kelly Claiborne.
Darrell Walter did get around Ernie Irvan there.
There we see Ernie Irvan has drifted back. Dale Jarrett now has him. Look here, 3 abreast. 3. This is not going to work.
And Walter might take the lead here, or take over second. I should say Davey Allison is full on out in the lead.
That's Jimmy Spencer in number 98 running ahead of Rudd, but now Walter falls back in line, but he was in a position there to take over second.
Yes, he was. His car is working well. He has been patient here today. He knows what it takes to win on this racetrack. Darrell Walter does. He wouldn't be the biggest winner here if he didn't. And he has driven a great calculated race here today. Beginning to flex his muscles. He only needs one more pit stop now.
If you heard Speed Week last night, you heard Darrell Waltrip be somewhat critical of the new pit procedures that are in place here today, saying that a better way to do it would be to freeze the field and let everybody come in and make pit stops and then come back in the same order. But I have a feeling if he wins this race today, he won't have a whole lot of objection to those pit rules.
The lady we saw just a moment ago was Stevie, his wife, and scorekeeper.
It's been 31 races since Darrell Waltrip won a Winston Cup event. That was at Martinsville in September of 1989.
Chad Little, who ran so strong earlier in the race, had some damage. Now slow on the inside along with several other cars, like Bill Elliott, the 9 car.
Jimmy Spencer just put the bumper to the leader, but he backed off.
Here's a Big A Auto Parts on-track interval comparing the laps of Davey Allison, the leader, and Darrell Waltrip. See, the interval has been up and down. It was 1.6 on lap 351. It came all the way down to 1.1 second, and then now at lap 355 went up to 1.4 again. And you can see they're very consistent, although Darrell has had overall the better lap times during those 5 laps of 3:51 through 3:55.
Here's a change for the lead. Ricky Rudd down on the inside of Davey Allison, and Darrell Waltrip trying to root his way under Davey Allison, and he does it.
So Ricky Rudd now is in the lead. Waltrip had second there for a moment, but slipped coming off the second corner. Now he gets it again, and Davey Allison is back to third.
He and Davey Mason.
And Waltrip goes around.
Nice save. Didn't hit anything.
Whew. Well, this is the break they need for their last caution flag, for their last pit stop. And if Darrell can get her turned around, which it looks like he will, and stay in the lead lap, he still will be okay.
Yeah, he really isn't going to lose a whole lot unless that bump damaged the car in some way.
Yeah, that's pretty level ground down there. He went over some gravel and everything. I doubt it affected it that much.
Meanwhile, Jimmy Spencer in that Food City Chevrolet did get a lap back on that. He had passed the leaders.
This is the 14th or 15th caution of the day. 15 caution periods. We're 5 away from the all-time record.
And here comes the pit stops. Davey Allison coming down first. Of course, was in the odd position, and Jared Punch is there.
Well, it should be the final scheduled stop under the caution flag for Davey Allison's Havoline Ford. The crew will change all 4 tires as expected. Right side tires already on the car. They dash around to the left side. Got to make sure they get it plenty full of fuel. They will make a chassis adjustment on the left side. Larry McReynolds and the rest of the Havoline crew, the Robert Yates Racing Team, now put all the lug nuts on. And Davey's car down the way. You hear him peeling off pit road now. He was among the leaders in the odd cars to pit first. And they're waiting here in the Ricky Rudd pit for the even cars to come down pit road as the field getting ready to come down turn 4, turn 3.
Several still sitting on pit road. Here comes Sterling Marlin. Nicky Gibbs out. So is Hut Strickland. And now here come the even cars in. Ricky Rudd slides into position. There's Jerry.
Ricky Rudd tied Chevrolet getting what, as we said, would be the final pit stop scheduled anyway under the caution flag today. Ernie Irvin is also in further up pit road, and they will change right side tires on Irvin's car and fuel it. Now Ricky Rudd's tied team going to the left side of their car. Pulling left front and the left rear tire up. Now left side of the Kodak and Chevrolet. It's a race to the pits. Back in the 5 pits now. The tide crew finishing. Ricky Rudd's car on the jack moving down pit road. And Ernie Irvin's car begins to move, so they will dash in turn 1.
And Darrell Waltrip pits on the backstretch. Here's John Kernan.
Darrell Waltrip is in for a 4-tire change. Right sides are already on. Darrell has requested a cold towel. He says he's burning up in the car. They have surveyed the car. Doesn't look like much damage other than a little bump in the rear end. They did put 1 round of wedge in the right rear. He is full. And Darrell is down and away, headed back out to the racetrack. But Dale Jarrett beat him out of the pits.
Now let's take a look at the replay and show you how Darrell spun coming off corner 4.
Comes off turn 4, and Davey Allison runs up, bumps him in the back, and sends Darrell into the spin.
And he just barely missed hitting the end of pit road there, but didn't hit anything as the car slid down to the bottom of turn number 1. Here it is again.
Well, Darrell gets traction coming off the turn, slips up in front of Davey, and Davey was coming on strong out there and just hit him enough to spin him around.
And Ernie Irvin and Dale Jarrett go through the smoke, obstructing their view, but everybody else got through okay. And Jeff Hammond, after seeing that, here's how he reacted. Now, after taking a look at a replay of the incident, NASCAR has apparently decided that the number 28 car of Davey Allison will go to the end of his respected row for the restart. All kinds of things happening here at Bristol International Raceway.
Here, Darrell Waltrip is on the inside of Davey Allison. This is coming off turn 2. Darrell loses a little bit of traction. Now they're side by side down the back. Going in turn 3, Davey goes up the hill. I don't know if there was contact there or not. They come off turn 4. Davey runs up and runs in the back of Darrell. And around Waltrip goes. NASCAR has determined that Davey will have to go to the back of, as Bob said, his respective line on this restart.
And the green is coming out. Action resumes on lap 376. The leader of the race is Mark Martin in car number 6. There are 2 cars ahead of him on the racetrack, but both of them are at least 1 lap down. A lot of pounding in turn 4, but everybody survives. There is Mark Martin, and right behind him is Ernie Irvan and Ricky Rudd, 2nd and 3rd.
Harry Gant's a lap down because of an unscheduled pit stop. Trying to stay in front of Mark Martin, but he just doesn't look like he's going to be able to. Here comes Martin on the inside. He and Harry bump coming off turn 2. He takes that spot away from Harry Gant.
So Gant now goes 1 lap down again.
Mark Martin is the leader of the race.
Now, he's one driver that's able to work down on the inside. That car's getting a bite down there.
I was just going to say, Ned, look how well he went through the bottom. And Harry Gant is off the pace. Once again, looks like he's coming in the pits.
He is indeed dropping onto the apron of the track in turn 4, bringing this Gold Bandit Oldsmobile to his respective pit position. And they will change right side tires on Harry's car.
Sterling Marlin.
Let's look at that Sterling Marlin up there in 4th place now. Look at Mark Martin, how low he's staying there and getting a bite and just running away from those guys back there. Now, whether their cars won't stay down there or they haven't paid attention, don't know. But he has found something there that is really working for him at this time.
Mark Martin, you talk about how bad a season he has had so far. Well, it hasn't been all that bad. He has had 2 top 10 finishes, a 6th at Richmond and a 4th last weekend at Darlington, and he finds himself 6th in the Winston Cup points. So to say that Mark Martin has eliminated himself from the possibility of becoming the Winston Cup champion is a little premature. He's only 160 points right now behind the Winston Cup points leader, Ricky Rudd. So Mark Martin from Batesville, Arkansas, the Jack Roush prepared Folgers Ford has the lead here at Bristol. After 388 of the 500 laps in the Valleydale Meets 500, here are the top 15. Mark Martin is your leader, followed by Ernie Irvan. Ricky Rudd is 3rd, then Sterling Marlin and Dale Jarrett. Running 6 through 10, Darrell Waldrop, Jimmy Spencer, Terry Labonte, Davey Allison, and Rusty Wallace. 11 through 15, Chad Little, Bobby Hillen, Morgan Shepherd, Joe Ruttman, and Ted Musgrave. We will be back with more of our coverage as a record crowd watches this Winston Cup race here at Bristol. ESPN Speed World today, Winston Cup racing at Bristol International Raceway in Tennessee. It's the Valleydale Meets 500 being led right now by Mark Martin. 2nd position is Ernie Irvan in car number 4. Then back in 3rd is Ricky Rudd. 4th is Dale Jarrett, and 5th is Sterling Marlin. There's the 3rd place car of Rudd. And right behind is Dale Jarrett, not too far behind Rudd.
Dale Jarrett is gaining on Ricky Rudd. Looks to me like, Ned, he passed the 22 car, Sterling Marlin, a few laps ago. It looks like he's gaining on Rudd.
Yeah, he definitely is picking up on him. Looks like the Sitco Ford working good.
There's the number 66 car of Lake Speed. Now, of course, this is the 2nd drive in this car by Lake Speed, and you're watching his movement from the Philip 66 in-car camera. Lake Speed currently being shown in 23rd position, 8 laps down. We got a foot cam. You can see him on and off the accelerator, on and off the brake as he goes around this .533-mile high bank oval.
You can see that he very seldom gets the accelerator to the floor. Watch him as he comes off the corner, playing with the throttle. Now all the way down to the... Oh, back off again.
Good stuff.
That left foot's laying up there poised, ready to hit the brakes at all times.
Braking going into 1. Now watch him feather the throttle in the corner. See him on, off. Now he nails it coming off the corner and keeps it there until he brakes for 3.
And that's all by feel. There's no points or anything he goes by. He just plays with the throttle and gives it power as he feels like that he should.
Well, you wonder how the brakes hold out here, doing that for 500 laps.
Well, here we see him already. He's pumping the brakes a little bit. And here you don't use nearly as much brake as you do in a place like, say, Martinsville,
where we will be in 2 weeks, by the way. Okay, Dale Jarrett now has really closed in on Ricky Rudd. This is the battle for third position. Boy, Dale is having a fine run in that Citgo Ford, prepared by the Wood brothers.
He had a good run here last year in that car, Bob. This was a year ago today, was the first time that he raced for the Wood brothers after Neil Bonney was injured at Darlington, and he took the car to the front, led for a little while. Boy, he's right on the back bumper of Ricky Rudd now. And he then had a good run here in August. They made a little miscue in the pits and chose to put on right side tires on the last pit stop as opposed to all 4 tires, and it cost him. But
well, that was his best finish here at Bristol last year in the Busch 500, the night race. He finished in 7th.
Look at this. Ernie Irvin has caught Mark Martin as well.
So we have a battle for the lead shaping up as Ernie Irvin is right
Caution
on
is
the
out.
debris on the racetrack. Now number 66.
Dick Lake Speed blew an engine. I started to say a lap or so ago. Just after we got through looking at the in-car camera stuff from his car, he blew an engine. I saw the car going down the front straightaway, putting down some oil. So I guess they're going to put oil dry down and dry it up.
Almost said Dick Trickle, didn't you?
I almost did.
We'll be back in just a moment with the caution out for the 16th time here at Bristol. Ricky Rudd comes in for a pit stop, giving up his 3rd position. Here's Jerry Punch.
A lot of concern that Ricky Rudd would have some fresh rubber for this run to the finish. A little less than 100 laps. In fact, 93 laps to go here in the Valleydale 500. Right side tires and left side tires. Walter Smith running around with the jack. And now they come around to the left side of the car and they will roll left side tires on, clean the windshield. This odd and even restart has certainly played into the strategy here today of a lot of people coming down pit road and getting fresh tires. Caution flag. Caution flag still out here for oil on the racetrack. 407 laps complete. Just 93 to go. We'll see if who can hold on and win it here when we come back after this.
Still under caution, and this most recent caution period helped a lot of people, but it didn't necessarily help Dale Jarrett. For one thing, he was on a run. Take a look at our Big A Auto Parts on-track interval report. Compare the times turned in by Mark Martin, the leader, and Dale Jarrett on laps 396 through 400. And as you can see on the far right column, the interval shrunk from 2.2 seconds on lap 396 to 1.7 on lap number 400. And by comparing the 2 columns, you can see that Jarrett really had the faster laps a couple of times.
Well, I think that Mark Martin, there's a combination of things. I think that Jarrett's car was running very well, and Mark Martin was slowing down because Ernie Irvin had caught Mark Martin and was trying to get by him. So obviously Mark's car had lost a little bit of his early speed.
There's a lot of things that on-track interval doesn't show you. For instance, if a guy was running in traffic and exactly what was going on the racetrack. But nevertheless, we think it's important for you to see whether or not one car was gaining an advantage over the other by whether one was slowing down drastically or one was speeding up. So the caution remains out. We are 4 caution periods away from a record. We have broken a record here this afternoon at Bristol for the number of lead changes. The old record was 34 among 16 drivers set in April of 1989. So far, there have been 36 lead changes, and we still have about 89 laps to go.
Okay, they're being given the signal. 2 laps to go.
See those clouds back there, fellas?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They announced in the drivers meeting that according to the NASCAR radar and their calculations, it might rain between 4 and 4:15. Well,
wow.
It's 4 o'clock here.
It is. That's pretty close. Now, is Rusty Wallace back on the lead lap? That is a question, and according to our scoring statistics, Rusty Wallace is back on the lead lap, so perhaps my statement quite some time ago about him being out of the possibility of winning the Unocal bonus money is false.
Well,
Could very well be.
We missed catching him get back on the lead lap. Don't quite know how he did it, but
but that's what the scoring monitor says.
He just passed that 20 car down and
Shown in 10th position. There are 10 cars on the lead lap, so Rusty is the last car on the lead lap, and he's trying to move himself up into his respective line.
fellas, the fate of the new rules is now that the 3 front cars are all even cars, so they'll start on the outside. Sterling Marlin was running in the 5th position. He'll get to start down on the inside, so it could be somewhat of an advantage for him.
Okay, a recheck of the scoring. Rusty Wallace is 1 lap down. Thank you.
Good. I thought that. I couldn't see how in the world. I mean, it's not good that he's a lap down, but I couldn't see that my calculations were that far off.
Yeah, we all wondered about that, but the recheck does have Rusty 1 lap down. Okay, getting ready for the restart again on lap 413. It's Mark Martin on the high side and Sterling Marlin on the inside.
But Davey Allison has those new tires.
Let's see what happens. He gave Sterling Marlin a little bump there in the back end of the car. So now Mark Martin has raced off into the lead. Oh, look at Sterling Marlin get way high on the racetrack, and others, including Ernie Irvin and Dale Jarrett, able to drive behind him. Here's Ernie Irvin making a bid for the lead on Mark Martin, and Ernie's got it.
just take that position away with no problem. Here comes Davey trying to get on the inside.
Remember, Davey, those new tires could definitely help him right now. Although Ernie Irvin, Mark Martin, and Dale Jarrett do not have new tires, they seem to be hanging in there pretty good. Maybe the tires aren't falling off that much today.
Let's get a report on that from John Kernan.
Bob, Mark Martin has radioed in and talked to the guys. He said he's been running as fast as he could, but before this last caution come out, he did not think that he could hold off Ernie Irvin. Well, they told Mark that if you can hold him off, do so, but if you can't, don't worry about it. They're looking for a good finish. They need another good finish this week.
Well, he could not hold off Ernie Irvin, but Mark is staying in 2nd position.
Rusty Wallace went around Dale Jarrett. Rusty has some new tires as well, so apparently they are helping a little bit.
And again, Rusty is 1 lap down, but Dale Jarrett in car number 21 is on the lead lap. He's 4th.
Then I'm like you. I'm surprised that Davey Allison hasn't shown more strength with the 4 new tires that he has on.
They haven't been able to do anything with Mark Martin once they got up there and got close to him. Apparently those tires are just not falling off that much. The new tires don't help as much as maybe they have at some other racetracks.
There, that black and white and gold number 2, Rusty Wallace. He was their pole sitter this afternoon. And as Bob just mentioned, is now determined he is a lap down to these cars. He wants desperately to get back in front of them. And then if a caution flag should come out.
He's got 3 tough customers there now that move around.
9 cars on the lead lap. Last car on the lead lap now is Sterling Marlin, who had a bad fire. Sterling Marlin involved in a very hard crash up in turn number 1. The car becomes engulfed in flame. He apparently backed into the wall, and maybe the fuel cell.
He's getting out of there. Out of boy, Sterling. Come on, babe. Get out of that thing. There you go.
He is out, falling to the pavement. He's trying to crawl away from the race car.
And at least he's out. Thank God for fuel, for rubber gas tanks and the foam that's inside them that doesn't allow all that fuel to come out, because that could have been a major, major deal.
So you can see some of the Dale Earnhardt crew guys running out to assist Sterling Marlin as he walks away from the crash.
We have a report that he blew a left rear tire as he went into that turn.
We were just saying that he was the last car on the lead lap. He was right up there in front on the inside when the green came out and had been dropping back quickly. And now the car goes hard in the first turn wall. But as you can see, he is sitting up and the safety workers are removing his helmet. Sterling appears to be okay. We'll be right back. There is what's left of the Maxwell House Ford, driven by Sterling Marlin. The car made contact with the wall in turn 1 and then erupted in a huge ball of flame. Here it is.
We see him backing in the wall with a left front, and the thing, as you said, just erupts in a huge ball of flame. And that's not too much of a problem until the car starts drifting down and all the flames go back through the cockpit of the car.
Yeah, it had to get hot in there for him, but thank God Sterling got out of the car and is now being taken to the infield care center.
Here it is from another angle. You can see how much flame there was as the car slid down the banking. Let's go now to John Kernan, who's with Mike Beam.
Mike, a very scary moment, but Sterling looks like he's okay.
Yeah, he said it's going to be okay. He burned his face a little bit, you know, but he'll be okay. You know, the guy's done a good job today, you know, got in that wreck early. And the car was off. He bent the house a little bit, trying hard, but, you know, he done a hell of a job. And, you know, it's just a shame because, you know, we thought we had flat, but he run over something going in one. He just turned around on him, you know. So it just wasn't nothing we could do.
Well, thankfully, it looks like that he is okay. His face was just a little bit red, I saw, when he walked away to the ambulance. But I think that's a tribute to the safety factors that go into these cars, gentlemen, what with the fire suits and everything like that.
Indeed, there isn't much left of the car, but nobody really cares about the condition of the car. Our concern is the condition of Sterling Marlin, and he appears to be not seriously injured. Back in a moment. Still under caution here at Bristol as the cleanup continues over in turn number 2 because of the accident involving Sterling Marlin, who is out of the car being checked at the infield care center and appears to be in good shape. Now we have had a report of a little bit of rain falling over in turn number 3 and a few sprinkles here on the main stretch.
Hard to believe that NASCAR predicted this morning that it would rain between 4 and 4:15. My watch says it's about 8 minutes after 4.
Yeah, they were pretty close.
Sure were. Let's hope we don't get a lot of rain, so it'll not stop this race.
Ernie Irvin and probably Mark Martin are hoping it rains.
Yeah.
All the rest of them hoping it doesn't rain.
Yeah.
No, I take that back. About half the field back is hoping it rains.
You know, Bristol International Raceway has come such a long way in 10 or 12 years. They have built some huge grandstands here on the front stretch and the back stretch. And as Ned mentioned earlier, they are going to build more seating. And the crowds that come out here to this race are just unbelievable. You can see them sitting on the hill there on the right side of your screen. And they draw even a larger crowd for the night race here late in the summer.
Wait a minute, Bob. They do not draw a larger crowd. They can't put any more people in here.
Oh, yeah, they can. That hill is a lot more populated than it is today.
They don't sell any more seats.
Yeah, that's right.
Than they do for today, because I think they must have been all sold today.
Those 4,000 seats that they're going to build on turn 4 will be high-rise seats. Now, they have a new scoreboard on the infield, and we were wondering yesterday, now that thing, you know, from where we are and all the people on the front straightaway and the back straightaway, they can't see that scoreboard. That was put up there. You see it. Now, this is what we're seeing, and most of the people in the stands on both sides. Well, they put it there for that new grandstand. Those people up in turn 4 will be able to see it because they can't see the scoreboard. They'll be right beside the scoreboard in turns 3 and 4.
Okay, that is where the grandstand will go. I was thinking maybe, yeah, there you go. And you're right, they wouldn't be able to see the scoreboard there in the 4th turn. I was thinking that they perhaps build it for somebody down in the 2nd turn, but I'm thinking, well, you can just look right over that one at the big one there in the 3rd and 4th turn and get the same information. But that
we see Mark Martin coming down pit road. Also the 42 car of Kyle Petty, but Mark Martin, the fellow who was running second, comes in the pits.
Of course, one thing this new pit rule did this weekend is necessitate more tires because, you know, in the previous races this year with very limited tire changes, naturally they don't have to buy very many and don't have to have many available, but it has increased the need for tires. And is this good strategy on Mark Martin's part, getting 4 new tires here?
He was going to get beat by several cars. So, yeah, I think it's the only thing he could possibly do if he's going to have any kind of chance of winning the race.
Gambling that it won't rain.
So it is 70 laps from the end of this race. 430 have been completed. We'll be back with more of our live coverage after this. This caution period that we're under here at Bristol allows the fans to go out to their concession stand and get their favorite hot dog or Coke or whatever. And as if he needs another meal, our good friend Benny stuffed himself into his car and drove a few miles down the road from the racetrack on Friday, where he once again managed to justify a big feed by passing it off as a necessary part of our telecast.
When I come to Bristol, not only am I looking forward to 2 great races on Saturday and Sunday, but I can't wait for Friday at lunch at the Ridgewood Restaurant. Great barbecue. Now, everyone all over the world says they've got the best barbecue. How do you tell? I don't know, except look for the cooker beside the restaurant. That means they do their own thing, and they got their own recipe, and most of it is pretty doggone good. Well, Grace Prophet has been cooking barbecue here for 43 years. Thank you very much, Grace. Look at this. Barbecue pork, barbecue beef. The French fries are homemade, great homemade coleslaw, homemade beans. But I'm a little bit concerned. The guys at the racetrack are concerned through the reputation I'm giving the place. When we come back in August, maybe we won't be able to get inside. Tell you what, if you folks are here on Friday before the August race and the place is full and I come in, you better get up and let me sit down. I told you about it, remember? Okay, enough of that. Let's eat some barbecue. I'm about to starve.
Well, Benny,
good.
how was it? hey, there's some guys that have visited there, I'm sure.
They've been over to the Ridgewood. It was very, very good. I mean, 43 years she's been there, so obviously.
Even members of our crew are taking a break before the end of the race, chowing down.
All the NASCAR people next door is ragging me. They're watching it on the monitor.
We still have not been given the signal for 2 more laps to go, so the cars have not yet moved into their realignment. How's this going to go here?
Well, one reason I think that we're delaying the restart of the race is that if Sterling Marlin should need to go to the hospital for observation or what have you, there is no tunnel here. They'll have to open that gate. You remember the one that Michael Waltrip hit last year? They'll have to open that gate to let the ambulance out. Well, I guess they do have a helicopter. We see it warming up down on the right there in the middle of the screen. We see the helicopter warming up, so I guess they could take him out that way. But how are they going to line up? Ned, you got any idea?
Well, they'll go 2 abreast like they've been doing here all day. Davey Allison will be down on the inside, and Ernie Irvin, as a result of being in the even situation, will go up on the outside. And so will Dale Jarrett right behind him.
All right, let's go to Jerry Punch, who's with Tony Glover.
Gentlemen, at tough racetracks like Bristol, normally you spend a couple of days getting the car dialed in, Tony, and then you don't change much on race morning, but that's not the case for you guys. What all did you change this morning?
Well, we changed about 3 springs and moved the rear track bar and moved some weight around in the car. Yesterday afternoon, he wasn't quite happy with it, and we went back to our setup we had last year, and it seems to be working okay for the Kodak Chevrolet.
You said you did not bring the car you won with last August. This is a different race car.
Yeah, this is a brand new car. This is the first time we've ever run it. It's a new Mike Laughlin car, and it's doing a real good job for us.
Well, they're getting ready to go green. He wants to talk to his driver for a moment, but they rolled the dice. They brought a brand new race car, and they made a lot of adjustments this morning, and apparently it's going to pay off for them.
All right, 2-lap signal is being given, so they'll go around 1 more time after this next time, and then we'll restart the race. Congratulations to our chief spotter, Kevin and Carolyn. They're Clark. They're celebrating their anniversary today, and Kevin reports from high above our broadcast booth here on the main straightaway that raindrops are being felt.
Okay, on the outside row, we see Ernie Irvin, Dale Jarrett, Terry Labonte, and Ricky Rudd. Those are the even rows. On the inside, Davey Allison. Then a lap down is Rusty Wallace. There's a 2, and there's a 20 car of Bobby Hillin. There's Mark Martin. He's back in behind the 98 car, and the 98 car again is in the lead lap, and the 6 car. So it looks like all the cars in the lead lap are on the even or outside row, Ned.
Yeah, that's true, excepting Davey Allison, who's down the inside. Now, Darrell Walton also made a pit stop during this caution, so he is back there a little farther than he had been, but he has 4 fresh tires on.
The light on top of the pace car is out. We're coming back, by the way, after the crash down in turn number 1 involving Sterling Marlin. And he has been checked out. Apparently is in pretty good shape after a very, very bad crash in which there was also quite a bit of fire involved. But Sterling is not seriously injured. All right, here we go. Pace car is off the racetrack. Ernie Irvin and Davey Allison lead him down. And there's the green flag on lap 439.
Ernie got off to a little bit of a slow start. Davey jumped out in front.
And Davey and Rusty Wallace still trying to get that lap back.
And Ernie goes high.
You know, Ned, it looked to me like Ernie missed a gear just a little bit.
Yeah, it's just enough to slow it down going into the turn.
Running in 3rd position is Dale Jarrett.
Dale's car seems to be pushing a little bit on the restarts. Here's our Rusty Wallace trying to get back in the lead lap, and he's going to do it.
Yes, he does. Rusty Wallace is back in the lead lap.
Boy, Darrell Walton, a lot of cars shuffling around. You can see they're running side by side. There's Darrell down on the inside as Mark Martin comes off of that corner, and Darrell goes by the car number 20 of Ronnie Hillen.
They were 3 abreast coming off the 2nd corner. Mark Martin, Darrell Waltrip, and Bobby Hillen. Mark Martin is in 5th and Darrell Waltrip is 6th.
Yeah, Dale Jarrett's car is definitely not up to par right now from the way he was running. Of course, he did not make a pit stop. Many of those other cars did, and that seems to be paying off.
Yeah, he's lost 2 positions here in the last couple of laps.
He's actually has lost 3. Rudd went around him. Here goes Darrell Waltrip around. So that definitely is hurting.
He's saying now, Ned, if it only had rained.
Yeah, only it rained. It was up there in 3rd place.
Ernie Irvin closing in on Davey Allison once again. These two have been the dominant cars so far today. Look at Jimmy Spencer making a good run here with Ricky Rudd. And there's Mark Martin. And we now begin to see raindrops.
Oh, it's coming down, yeah.
Here on our broadcast booth. Let's see if Irvin tries to make a move.
Let's see if we can see any rain on his windshield. I don't see any yet.
Look at him push Davey. You can see the rain on the windshield now.
So Davey, he's also seeing that rain. He realizes all he's got to do is stay in front for just a couple more laps.
Protect that position.
Ernie's trying to get by on the inside. He may have him.
Oh, no, he couldn't do it then.
Jimmy Spencer almost lost it coming off of turn 4. Evidently the track is getting a little slick as Ricky Rudd moves on the inside of Spencer. Takes the position away. Mark Martin gets by as well.
The yellow flag is out. The yellow flag is out.
So they're racing back to the line.
Here they come. Off the corner, Davey got really loose, but he held on to the lead.
Wow. And that's the signal when Doyle Ford is pointing to the sky. That's what the caution flag is for. Rain.
Now they told us, or at least I heard, Ned, that when they said it was going to rain between 4 and 4:15 and they missed it by less than 5 minutes, that it probably would set into rain and rain for a while.
Yeah, they did say that there was a lot of heavy stuff back behind the front that's moving in here.
But for right now, just a caution flag.
I wonder if they're congratulating each other or got other words to say. I think they're probably congratulating each other because it's pretty clean racing there those last few laps.
51 laps to go. Davey Allison won the race to the caution flag. He's the leader. Ernie Irvin 2nd, Ricky Rudd 3rd, then Mark Martin and Darrell Waltrip. This is Bob Jenkins back at Bristol International Raceway in Tennessee, along with Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, Dr. Jerry Punch, and John Kernan. Now, the cars are back on the racetrack. They are under caution right now, but the laps are counting. Currently, we have 40 laps to go. We've been under a long rain delay here, but it has stopped raining. The track has dried sufficiently to put the cars back out there, and within a very few laps, we will get the green flag and have a real shootout for the finish of this event. Right now, there are 40 laps to go. We're still under caution, so it is going to be a sprint to the finish. Let's go to Jerry Punch on pit road with an explanation of what's going to happen down there.
Well, a lot of concern why they had the break. You know, Rusty Wallace pitted for 4 tires when they took the caution out just before they red flagged the race. He pitted, as did Dale Jarrett. Now, the difference is Rusty Wallace is an odd car because he started on the pole. Dale Jarrett is an even car. And since there are 7 even cars still in the lead lap, Dale Jarrett lines up as the 7th car, or actually the 5th car back there. But Rusty Wallace, by virtue of being an odd car, gets to start on the inside of the front row. So just the fortunes of whether you're odd or even here. Now, Wallace has fresh tires. Dale Jarrett has fresh tires. 17 of Darrell Waltrip has fresh tires. And just a moment ago, Davey Allison pitted for fresh tires. So we'll see what can happen. The problem is Ernie Irvin cannot pit now. Tony Glover, the crew chief, said, hey, if we pit, we go to the tail end of that even line, which will put us 5th, 6th, possibly even 7th back there, and we can't afford it.
Okay, so what I said quite a while ago about Rusty Wallace not being in a position to win this race and walk off with a $22,800 Unical bonus is by the boards, because here we go. The green flag is out, and Rusty is lined up right alongside Ernie Irvin, the leader of the race, and Rusty Wallace takes first place, and here comes Davey Allison to second.
Both these cars have fresh tires, 4 fresh tires. So I think the race right now is between the 28 and the 2.
Just like good old Saturday night racing where you had the trophy dash and a very short event with the top guys slugging it out for the finish. This is what we have here at Bristol late on a Sunday afternoon after a rain delay. Rusty Wallace pulling away now from Davey Allison. He's second. Back to third is Ernie Irvin. Then fourth is Ricky Rudd. 5th is Mark Martin, and 6th is Darrell Waltrip. They're lined up nose to tail. 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Then the 98 and the 21 cars, both of them on the lead lap.
They're running 7th and 8th. Terry Labonte made a pit stop. He is running 9th. That's the 9 cars on the lead lap.
Davey Allison 3rd. Make that 2nd. But Rusty Wallace has put some racetrack between himself and Davey.
Dale Jarrett on the inside of the Jimmy Spencer automobile takes that spot away. 4 fresh tires on that 21 car.
So Dale moves to 7th. Dale Jarrett is in 7th.
I'm sure he's one of the drivers that wanted to see this race restart because he had dropped back to 9th when he made that pit stop.
4th, 5th, and 6th right here. Rudd, Mark Martin, and Darrell Waltrip.
Rudd, a little surprising. He had put new tires on his car not long before they were red flagged, but he's not staying up there with those others. As a matter of fact, I think he's holding Mark Martin up right now.
31 laps to go. 31 to go when the Valleydale meets 500.
A few laps ago, Ned, Mark Martin looked to the outside of Ricky Rudd. That's how much faster he feels like he's running than Ricky Rudd is. When you look outside, that means you think you're awfully that much more faster than the fellow in front of you.
There's 4th, 5th, and 6th. And there's Rusty Wallace on the left of your screen, the leader of the race, and the interval he has, the advantage that he has over Davey Allison. Now, a crash here on the main straightaway. Ken Schrader bangs the wall hard, both on the outside and the inside of the racetrack.
And look out, there's a tire going down through the pits. Look out, guys.
Look out. Everybody scatter. It hits the Harry Gant toolbox, and it's a good thing it did, or it could have hit somebody.
Yeah, and it bounced back into the toolbox of Rusty Wallace, so that did kill the momentum the tire had, which was very, very fortunate.
That's our 19th caution period of the afternoon. We're only 1 away from tying the record.
Kenny Schrader crawls out of the car.
Boy, that's the 2nd time he's banged the wall here on the main straightaway, and this one is going to end his day, but he is out of the car okay. And here's a look at what happened.
something happened to the right front because he goes into the wall awfully hard. We see his tire come bouncing across the racetrack. That's Schrader's tire. Here he goes and leaps that pit wall and continues on down, and as someone said, hit the toolbox in Harry Gant's pit.
It did, and then bounced over to the toolbox of Rusty Wallace, and then it just sort of laid itself down.
But apparently nobody was hurt by that tire on pit road, and Ken Schrader has, and there you can see the tire, hitting the right there. It hits Harry Gant's toolbox and then bounds over and hits Rusty Wallace's. Let's go to Jerry, who's with Ken.
Well, Kenny Schrader climbing out for the second time today. You've taken a pretty tough lick. Kenny, you're okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Just something broke up right front.
You look a little dazed. You took quite a lick, not only on the outside wall, but came again against the inside wall. What is a spindle or a wheel, or do you have any idea?
Something that just broke. I mean, it could have been a tire, wheel, spindle. I don't know what it was, you know. I didn't have any indication it was coming. It just went.
Tough break again for Kenny Schrader. We'll let him get over and talk to his crew here. Fortunately, he is okay. And once again, the safety requirement for these NASCAR cars, the roll cage totally intact, but his Kodiak Chevrolet looks to be now completely destroyed. And we'll replay it once again. You'll notice that he took a hard shot both from the outside wall. Here it is from our speed shot.
See, that's the white card. Something happened to the right front, as he said, and slammed hard into the wall, and then slams hard into the inside wall.
And we see the tire come off before he even hit the wall. I mean, the wall didn't knock the tire off. Right. The tire came off, and then he hit the wall.
And that was right in front of the leaders.
Yeah, that's right. There goes Rusty Wallace and Davey Allison. Ernie Irvin. I'm surprised Irvin didn't stop and get tires.
So Ken Schrader's afternoon is over. He was being shown in 29th position when that incident occurred. Of course, he spent many laps in the pits earlier in the race because of a similar crash, although not nearly as hard an impact here on the main straightaway. Boy, that car is pretty much ruined.
Yeah, he's one driver that wishes it had stayed wet.
So we only have now 26 more laps to go. We are under caution because of a crash involving Ken Schrader. Back with more after this. This is Bob Jenkins back at Bristol International Raceway. Well, the rains have subsided and the track has been dried. It's time now to rejoin the Valleydale Meets 500 for the exciting conclusion of this event. The green flag is back out on lap 478. The race resumes, and the battle up front for the lead is between Rusty Wallace on the inside and Ernie Irvin on the outside. Irvin high on the track in car number 4. And the number 2 car of Rusty Wallace has the lead. Davey Allison is right there in 3rd position.
Wow. Ernie Irvin made quite a move to get up to 2nd spot, Ned.
Look at the record that we have set today for most lead changes. 40, the record 34.
9 cars on the lead lap, 7 of them running right together.
Next time around, we'll have 20 laps to go. 20 to go on this half-mile high-bank track in Bristol, Tennessee. Wallace continues to lead. Irvin, Allison, Martin, Rudd. The 17 and 21 cars are battling for position. That's Darrell Waltrip and Dale Jarrett, the 6th position.
A little damage to the rear of Darrell's car there when Davey Allison hit him earlier in the race.
Darrell Waltrip in 6th. Dale moving right up on the back bumper of that car in 7th position.
That was a Sitco bumper cam. That pulled him right on the back bumper of Darrell. Dale Jarrett tried on the outside, looked on the outside.
Spin up in turn 4, Mickey Gibbs. Loops, slides down the banking. Everybody breaks and misses him, and there will be no caution flag because Mickey's car is off the racing surface. He has it pointed in the right direction. No caution. 17 laps to go.
I wondered why Ernie Irvin didn't stop on his last caution flag and change tires, but it looks like he knew what he was doing because he is in 2nd place and looks like he's gaining on Rusty Wallace.
Yeah, he couldn't afford to give up the track position. He felt the tires he had on were good and just decided to stay with it.
The 17 and 21 battle is the best one on the racetrack at the moment for 6th position.
I think Darrell's just trying to protect that position right now. He's not able to catch Ricky Rudd, who is running in the 5th position, so he's just trying to hold Jared off and protect the 6th position.
Laps to go. Make that 14. 14 laps to go, and the leaders have run into traffic. They passed Bill Elliott, and now they passed Jeff Bodine, both of whom moved to the inside and let Rusty Wallace and Ernie Irvan pass by safely.
But Ernie Irvan gained about 2 car lengths when they passed those 4 cars with Elliott's and Bodines.
Rusty Wallace started this race from the pole position and will be eligible for $22,800 in Unocal bonus money should he hang on to the lead here and win the race. And it has been an uphill battle for Rusty all afternoon, but he appears to have overcome all the problems. The 98 car there behind Waltrip and Jarrett is also battling for position. He's on the same lap as those guys.
Yeah, he had gotten behind, but now that Jarrett can't get around Waltrip, he has caught up to him. I think Darrell is definitely holding up both of those cars, but you can't blame him for protecting that position here this near the end of the race.
10 laps to go. 10 laps to go for Rusty Wallace. Ernie Irvan is right on his bumper, looking to the inside. Can't make the pass going into 1.
Reverse of what it was here in August. Ernie Irvan was leading and Rusty Wallace was stalking him.
We lost a lot of spectators during that rain delay, but those that stuck around are seeing a real battle to the finish. This is from Ernie Irvan's in-car camera. The leader, Rusty Wallace, is just ahead.
Just unbelievable. Rusty Wallace, at one point in the race today, was 2 laps down. Here he is with just 8 laps to go, leading the race.
It is unbelievable, but that's what happens at Bristol. Anything can happen at Bristol.
Well, you know, Benny, I said at the top of the show, it's going to be tough to make up laps with the way the pit rules are now and the way they line the cars up. But Rusty Wallace has proven me wrong, hasn't he?
7 laps to go. Once again, we focus in on this battle, which now is basically between Jarrett and Jimmy Spencer, as Darrell Waltrip has a 3 or 4 car lengths ahead. Going back up front now, Wallace and Irvan with 6 circuits to go.
Ernie knows it's just right there. Victory is right there in front of him.
It would be his 3rd Winston Cup win. It will be Rusty Wallace's 19th Winston Cup win. Now less than 5 to go as they enter turn number 3. This will complete lap 496. 4 laps to go.
Ernie got up there, but he can't gain any more. As a matter of fact, Rusty now has a couple of car lengths on him. Whereas 4 or 5 laps ago, he's right on that rear bumper.
This will be the first win for this team if Rusty can hang on. The team that is co-owned by Roger Penske. When they come around this time, there will be 2 more laps to go. Wallace continuing to hang on to the lead by about a car length and a half over Ernie Irvan.
Both cars running exactly the same tracks around the racetrack. So for Ernie to get by Rusty, he's going to have to try to find a different place to run.
The white flag is out. 1 more lap to go for Rusty Wallace. Let's see how he handles the traffic ahead of him. Bill Elliott is right there. Rusty Wallace moving high off the 2nd corner. Leading down the backstretch. Ernie Irvan will try to make a final move. He taps Rusty. Here they come off the corner. They're side by side. It looks like Rusty Wallace is going to win by about a half a car length. Oh, another exciting Bristol finish. And the battle for the spot back in 6th, 7th, and 8th goes to Darrell Waltrip over Dale Jarrett and Jimmy Spencer. Well, last year was the closest finish in NASCAR history here at this event, when Davey Allison beat Mark Martin by 8 inches, and that one was a little bit more, but not very much.
It looked like coming off turn 4 was going to be less than 8 inches. Looked like it's going to be bumper to bumper.
Rusty Wallace came from 2 laps down here at Bristol this afternoon. There was a time when everybody had given up on him, but he has come back to win from the pole position. Not only does he win the purse, but he wins the $22,800 in Unical bonus money. The winner, Rusty Wallace. For Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, Dr. Jerry Punch, and John Kernan, this is Bob Jenkins. So long, everyone.